9BF Rochester, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester, an Odyssey sports station.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Welcome on in. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia officially open for business. Glad you're with us and listening along at 95.7 FM, AM 950, the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, TuneIn apps. Or if you're watching along on our stream, we stream live every afternoon from 3 until 6 on Twitch and on YouTube. Find us at The Fan Rochester. I'm Danger. That's Battaglia.
Yeah, we normally have some fun on Wednesdays during the season with Sean McDermott in his press conferences because he's always kind of talking up the opponent and saying flowery things. I don't think we would find a single lie today.
We affectionately call it McDermott McLies. And I think you're saying that because you have zero confidence that the Bills are going to go into Jacksonville and win this game on Sunday.
I've yet to make my final determination as we go on this journey together determining. And we'll make our picks on Friday. But what could he say as a lie? Like if you say, I don't know, Tootin is a future Hall of Famer, that would be a lie. I don't think you're getting anything like that.
Right. I'm looking. Even if you had Sean McDermott talking for 40 seconds, say, as an example, on Trevor Lawrence, would you hear him tell a lie about a player who right now is playing at a very high level?
The ground rules. An extreme exaggeration would be considered a lie, correct? I'm going to say one.
Sean McDermott earlier on Jaguars quarterback Trevor Lawrence.
No, I think they are as a team. You know, very, very impressive, near perfect in their games, and the games haven't been close that they've played. They've been well ahead, and so it's led by him. He's been in command of what they do and knows where to go with the ball, and certainly can extend plays with his athleticism and his legs and his play strength. You see him, you watch him against some really good teams, and he's giving them fits.
Just on kickers, how much does it help that Matthew Wayne had experience kicking in Jacksonville?
Yeah, that's certainly part of his resume. That's a plus for sure.
Really good teams. They haven't all been really good teams.
Denver. They throttled Denver.
Denver was impressive, but they haven't all been really good teams. So easy. Yeah. Easy. I mean, that's the kind of McDermott or any head coach would be like, every team in the NFL is a really good team. Settle down. They're not all really good teams. Just because it's the NFL doesn't mean that you're getting a good team every single week. Yes, it's hard to win games in the NFL. Sure, it's some weeks are a little bit easier than others. All right, so we might be short on McDermott McLies today.
McDermott sounds like he slept a total of 2 hours following the win over the Jets.
Good.
I need him rested on game day, though.
Good. He needs to be. This whole team needs to be dialed in. I mean, well, let's just start talking about it because we don't know what the world looks like on Monday, but we know that right now in the NFL, everybody is talking about the vacancies. And as we were signing off yesterday, I was jarred, completely shook by Baltimore's decision to move off of John Harbaugh. And knowing that a coach like John Harbaugh is now available, and the reports are that there are 7 teams that have contacted John Harbaugh. There's only 6 openings right now, but 7 if you include the Ravens. So one of those teams already has a coach. Now, I'm not here saying that Terry Pagula or Brandon Beane reached out to Harbaugh's agent about his availability. But come on, I know you. I know you, the fan. I know you, the listener. You're thinking to yourself, if it doesn't get done, if McDermott flames out spectacularly as soon as this Sunday, you're not going to be calling for a change?
Well, there will be a lot of emotion. If it's a Cam Little 65-yard field goal at the end, or the Bills get thumped by 3 touchdowns, whatever it is, if you are not out of the wild card round, something that, by the way, they've been out of this round dating back to the first year of Josh Allen getting to the postseason, that Houston playoff game. So usually you get to the divisional round. But once kind of the emotion dies down, maybe that's what made – a lot of things made the Harbaugh firing shocking. The timing of it, that the emotions didn't die down, that normally for somebody that's been there 18 years, you're trying to find a graceful way, kind of an exit path if it's not working out. But your question about McDermott, Danger, I feel like there is such a divide between those who cover the team and the national takesmen. And the national takesmen point to the obvious, that this is a team that wins and wins and wins except when it really matters. And something's got to change. And there's always a fall guy. And for Sean McDermott, is time running out? And you can point to things in NFL history. You can point to, hey, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who had a Hall of Fame coach in Tony Dungy, but that wasn't the right fit. Let's bring in John Gruden. Super Bowl. All right. If you want to tell me who that Hall of Fame coach may be, I don't think it's John Harbaugh. I'm sorry. Have you watched Baltimore Ravens football? They are sloppy.
The thing that's funny, if you talk about Harbaugh and McDermott and you compare and contrast the two, they're the same guy as long as McDermott's been in the league. Harbaugh, for as long as McDermott's been in the league, has the same result as Sean McDermott. You could say, well, Sean, if your biggest complaint is Sean McDermott is wasting the prime years of Josh Allen, what's a Ravens fan saying? John Harbaugh is wasting the prime years of an MVP quarterback in Lamar Jackson. Okay, maybe you're saying Sean McDermott can't win the big one. John Harbaugh has a Super Bowl. But in recent years, his flameouts have been as spectacular, if not more spectacular, than the Sean McDermott flameouts. And I'm including 13 seconds in there. Can't win the big one? Okay. I think they're both. So the differences to me would be negligible. You're exchanging one part for another, and the result is the same when you look at what McDermott has done since becoming a head coach and what Harbaugh has done in that same amount of time. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Neither of them have gotten to the Super Bowl in that time span. So I'm already thinking about what the world looks like on Monday. And yeah, the cynic in me thinks if it's bad, we're going to be hearing from a lot of you at 866-4326 and on X at the Fan Rochester about the coach, about the GM. And my stance isn't going to change. Gino, I know you feel the same way. It would not. Terry Pagula is not going to blow these guys out. Not for making the postseason again. Not for losing in the first round. They're doing just fine. They are doing just fine. In his eyes, in the eyes of the billionaire owner who's about to open a multi-billion-dollar stadium that will result in more money, a stadium that he didn't have to pay for. Please. He ain't getting rid of those guys. No, they're going to be fine. And as far as Harbaugh is concerned, we've got conflicting reports about Miami being that team.
Well, I've got it here. Here's the one report that everybody said. It's from Josina Anderson. I'm told the Dolphins have been in touch on John Harbaugh. Wait a second. The Dolphins have a head coach. Oh, is that the team that kind of reached out? By the way, we haven't told you who's on today. Lee Steinberg, super agent for Patrick Mahomes, by the way. He will join us in the 4 o'clock hour to talk about his new book coming out. But we'll hit him with that question. Like, well, how does that work? Like, somebody's reaching out to you about a vacancy that isn't a vacancy? Like, there's got to be so much back-channeling going on.
Now, Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, as of late this morning, reported that the Dolphins had not reached out or engaged with Harbaugh. So we have some yes, they did, no, they didn't. Yes, they have, no, they haven't. I mean, it makes sense. That would be a team that would make sense. But you can look at every team that still has a head coach that could potentially be reaching out. The Jets should be reaching out to John Harbaugh. Technically, they still have a head coach, right? Aaron Glenn is their head coach. They should be reaching out to him. The Steelers still have a head coach. They're playing this weekend. But Mike Tomlin has made it seem as if he's got something ready to go post coaching. Like, I think Tomlin was ready. If he didn't make the postseason and the cries to get him out were as loud as they've been,
dude.
Harbaugh to the Steelers.
No, dude. It's not quite Joe Torre to the Red Sox. But come on, that would never fly there.
In Pittsburgh?
Right.
I think they would take him.
No.
I would rule out the Bengals because there's no way Mike Brown would pony up anything for what Jim Harbaugh would be asking for. But Harbaugh would be an upgrade from Zach Taylor. You had the vote of confidence from the Colts, from Carly Gordon. But Harbaugh would be an upgrade from Shane Steichen.
Well, let's stop right there. Like, we could go through this exercise.
Yeah.
But in reality, if teams are being honest, like the Jets, are we a more attractive position than our crosstown team, the Giants? Like, you have to understand, like, hey, we'll make the move if you're coming. You just can't blow out these coaches, not know that you have them. So if we get an unexpected firing, maybe it's wild to me to think that John Harbaugh, a guy that we'll have PJ Glasser coming up at the bottom of the hour to give us his picks, but he's Baltimore-based, he's a Raven fan, and he was celebrating this. Yeah. Like, he very excited. A lot of Raven fans are like, oh, thank goodness we get some change here. It's pretty wild to me that a mid-coach in the NFL is getting this run. Would it be the same way for Sean McDermott?
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. I mean, that's I keep asking myself if there are coaches being let go, and you saw when Stefanski got let go. I said it on Monday, Black Monday. Like, that guy's going to have his option. He's going to have a choice of where he wants to go. There will be multiple teams willing to make him their head coach. I think you'll have the same for John Harbaugh. I think if Sean McDermott was one of those guys, I think so. Tampa's another team, by the way. I can't help but think that Todd Bowles is they haven't made any sort of, and I know he's made his case, but if you're John Harbaugh and you see your brother in Los Angeles, wouldn't you like to play your games in Tampa and be part of that organization? It ultimately is going to come down to which organization wants to give him the most money and the control that he wants.
Control, correct. So, and does Monken come with him? I know Monken's out. So we got off the air yesterday not knowing, all right, what was this all about? Was it a Lamar power play? Maybe indirectly. So the story from the insiders was Bisciotti, the owner, wanted Monken, the OC, out because apparently Lamar and Monken weren't getting along, which that's not a good thing. Okay, that's, I guess, a reasonable request, but Harbaugh said no. Mm-hmm. And by saying no, that means this move had to be made, right?
Yeah. I get it. I knew, or I always felt that there was something off with Lamar. And if it's Lamar and that OC not getting along, and you got a couple of alphas that don't want to give in, and Monken's a strong personality. He's a fiery dude. Something's got to give. And they sided with the two-time MVP.
I mean, you had that column that came out in Baltimore over the holidays that painted a very unflattering picture of Lamar Jackson, somebody that was very sensitive, didn't put in the work. If you dug a little bit deep, like, whose agenda was that to put that out there? And you had these rumors unspeculated, like, boy, would they ever trade? Boy, Miami would, like, we can put that to rest. Lamar Jackson's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. He didn't get the coach fired, but the Ravens picked their side. Bisciotti picked this side.
And he's going to be a big part of who comes in, who the Ravens will now hire to be their next head coach. Vegas has Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter at plus 250 is the favorite right now. Followed by Stefanski at plus 350. And I don't know where Vegas is getting this, and maybe this is old, or Vegas didn't react, but they had at I believe it was last night, Todd Monken at plus 450 to be their next head coach. That's
it's not happening. Not happening. Yeah.
But the Minter case is interesting because Minter has been working with Jim Harbaugh, not just here in L.A. with the Chargers, but also at the University of Michigan. There's familiarity there. So sometimes not what you know, it's who you know. But, with Harbaugh leaving Baltimore, do they go back to the Harbaugh well and go to a Harbaugh guy to be their next head coach? I don't know. I think Stefanski's going to have a choice as to where he wants to go. He's in New York. He was in New York last night. Dinner with the Giants brass last night. More meetings today. The Giants also completed their interview today with Mike Kafka. They've got Mike McCarthy scheduled for next week. I wouldn't be too excited about that. If you're a Giants fan, I think it's Harbaugh or bust, right? That's the guy you probably want. He immediately became the favorite to land the Giants head coaching job when he was announced that he was no longer going to be in Baltimore.
Right, but then does Harbaugh want personnel? What kind of say does he want there? That's why Atlanta makes some sense. Like, Atlanta is okay. There is talent there. That is a winnable division. That's an owner who will spend. You've got everything there other than the heritage, like the Giants and some other organizations. But if you want to win, Atlanta's the cheat code. To me, if I'm Harbaugh, I'm looking at that, and if the price is right, and I get to have some say in who's going to be my personnel guy, sign me up.
Now for the Buffalo Bills today, they did have a walkthrough. Back at it. Terrell Bernard, Max Hairston, Ty Johnson, Matt Milano, Josh Palmer, and Matt Prater all did not participate. Josh Allen, who had not had a full practice since the day after Christmas because of that foot injury, did participate fully prior to today. He had not had 3 full practices in a week since week 16. We'll see how that foot reacted to today's walkthrough, but I don't think we're going to have to worry about 17 on the injury report this week.
No, I think we'll be fine. I mentioned, I saw Ty Johnson in a walking boot, so that was not good. But again, today is Wednesday. We'll check back on Friday, and it is a playoff game danger. So what would it take to have some of these guys out? Jordan Phillips going on IR.
Saw that.
Yeah, that was a little unexpected. But even with Ed Oliver being out, I think if you had to say, or give me positives from the season, those 2 rookie defensive tackles, Walker, and you see Sanders coming on recently. Usually this is when these kids kind of run out of gas, the rookie wall, they call it. Well, hopefully Wall doesn't show up here in week 19, but so far so good. And if you have those 2 guys in the middle cycling in with Ogunjobi, who's starting to make some plays, I think they can be okay on the inside.
Yesterday, also late in our show, as we were signing off, the Bills signed to their practice squad kicker, Matt Wright. Here is Sean McDermott with the latest on Matt Prater, who, as I mentioned, did not participate in today's walkthrough.
We won't kick Matt today, but we will try and kick him tomorrow so we can kind of get a feel for where he's at. And yet, hopefully he's good to go as of tomorrow, and then we can, and this is just on a day-by-day, right now, that's the plan. We can take a look tomorrow and just see where he's at, and then hopefully all is well, and he gets a chance to then kind of get back to some rest after that as we head into game time. So I think we'll know a little bit more tomorrow, maybe end of the day, end of business tomorrow.
Okay, if you see Matt Prater out there on Sunday, you're pretty nervous, right? I am not a physical therapist, but okay, he gets hurt. You're in the Cleveland game, you're in the Philadelphia game, and after 2 weeks off, you re-injure. So how is it going to be any different if we're only 6 days?
An aggravation, right?
Yeah. I would not take that chance.
Yeah. Chris Brown earlier today on One Bills Live on Bills practice squad kicker Matt Wright.
Now, Wright is a 6-year veteran, kicked for a few different teams as a fill-in this season in Houston, Washington, and Tennessee. His most productive season came as the kicker for Jacksonville in 2021 when he was 21 of 24 on field goal attempts. So he has experience kicking at Everbank Stadium. His career long is 59 yards, and Coach McDermott said his experience in Jacksonville was a factor.
He's also the guy that was responsible for all 9 points in the Jags' 9-6 win in 2021 over the Buffalo Bills. The Urban Meyer-led Jacksonville Jaguars.
Boy, if you had to say worst losses of the McDermott era.
That was gross.
Yeah, in terms of regular season.
That was a gross game. Well, we'll hope for more and for better things come Sunday.
Do you remember the final score of the 2017 wild card game there?
It was like 10-9 or something, wasn't it?
10-3.
Oh, 10-3.
10-3. And what happens? The Bills finally get a drive going at the end. Tyrod gets knocked out.
Yep. And Peterman
comes in and he can't deliver. And they turn the ball over in plus territory.
Yeah, I think there was a Peterman throw across the field, some hero throw. Like, you're Nathan Peterman. You can't make that throw. No quarterback should be making that throw. You're Nathan Peterman. Don't even attempt. Oh, he attempted it. Oh, gross. Yeah, we hope for greater fortunes on Sunday. It has not been an easy place for the Bills to get a win. Hell, road games in the postseason under Sean McDermott have not been easy for the Buffalo Bills. They have yet to win one in the postseason, but we'll have the action for you here. Come Sunday morning, pregame coverage starting at 9 o'clock on the Fan Rochester.
PJ Glasser coming up. We will also talk some Nighthawks as they're home Saturday against Buffalo. Friday night, they're actually in Philadelphia. Thomas McConvey will be joining us in the 5 o'clock hour here today, too.
You can join us anytime this afternoon on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line. That number is 866-4FAN. Award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street in East Rochester. GoodSmokeBBQ.com.
update.
It's a lengthy injury report for the Buffalo Bills. Good news, Josh Allen, a full participant today. Not practicing. Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano under the weather, Josh Palmer. This all in addition to Maxwell Harrison. Head coach Sean McDermott on the need to start quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get off to a good start in any game, in particular a game like this. But at the end of the day, it's about us playing really good football from play one to play however long it takes.
Bills a 1-point favorite in Jacksonville. We'll talk to our betting expert, PJ Glasser. He joins us next year in the Sports Bar. Hockey tonight for the Amerks. They look to get their first win in the calendar year. Rochester playing at Syracuse. Coverage will begin at 7 here on The Fan. Sabres get a win last night over Vancouver. They're at the Garden tomorrow night. The Knicks tonight looking to break a 4-game slide. They host the Clippers. G. Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan, Rochester.
Neat or on the rocks? It's the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Typically, more hyped crowds. You have to be very good on snap timing. It allows defenses to hide their hand a little better. When they see a leg go up, they can move it, while we can't change. So again, we're going to have to be very good at pre-snap and post-snap reads and getting through them. And again, run game, pass game, you name it. We just got to make sure that we're executing our details.
Josh Allen, as the Bills travel to Jacksonville, Super Wild Card weekend. We will get to these games with Sports Bar betting expert PJ Glasser, who's good with his time, to join us now in the Sports Bar. But if you know PJ and you know of PJ in the Sports Bar, you know that we've dubbed him our favorite Baltimorean. And therefore, PJ, it's fortuitous to have you on with us today just to get your reaction to John Harbaugh being relieved of his duties late yesterday afternoon. How are you, bud?
I'm doing good, fellas. Good to talk to you. It's still kind of crazy. I didn't think they'd do it. They had a disappointing season, as we all know. Lamar was dealing with injuries. They had a bunch of players on their roster dealing with injuries, but it just felt like they were kind of going to give him a pass. And then the early reports were that they were going to make change at the coordinator level. But I credit the owner, Steve Bisciotti, and the front office for realizing that, he's been with Lamar for 8 years. They have 3 playoff wins, and they just continue to struggle with the same 3 teams, right? At Pittsburgh, at Buffalo, at Kansas City. They just cannot beat those 3 teams on the road. They went 0-3 against those teams this year. Guys, they went 3-6 at home. The stat that I think is the most insane is that in the first 17 years of Harbaugh, they lost 3 primetime games at home in the regular season. That's it. 3 games in 17 years. They lost 3 primetime games at home in just this year. So it was time. 18 years, he had a great run. I'm excited for the future, and I'm excited to see what they do next. But, the coaching search just got a lot more interesting. There's no doubt. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes and obviously who the Ravens get as their next coach.
All right, so you are the GM of the Ravens, or you're Steve Bisciotti, because it's a ownership decision, right? Ultimately, who do you want? Who would you like to see as the new head coach in Baltimore?
My top choice, Gene, would be Jesse Minter, the Chargers defensive coordinator. I think by now kind of everybody realized that the Ravens messed up when they let Mike McDonald walk out the door when he was the defensive coordinator of the Ravens, and now obviously doing great things with the Seahawks. Minter's kind of the next closest thing to that. McDonald was with Jim Harbaugh when he was his defensive coordinator at Michigan. McDonald leaves to take the DC job with the Ravens, and now Jesse Minter then became the defensive coordinator with Michigan for Michigan when he was with Harbaugh. Then Harbaugh obviously leaves after he wins the championship. Minter follows him to L.A., where he's been there the last couple of years. So I think a lot of Ravens fans kind of like that connect of we saw what McDonald and kind of his coaching path and what he was able to do, and we've already kind of seen what Minter's been able to do. So I think that makes a lot of sense. But then, they could go in a direction of obviously Flores or Stefanski or maybe one of these guys that have been a head coach in the past. I would go with the defensive guy because I've always been in the mindset of you have Lamar and Derrick Henry. I really don't think you need like a Sean McVay, Kevin O'Connell offensive mind type. You just kind of need somebody that really utilizes their strengths well. Whereas I think people saw towards the end of the season, and especially in that Steelers game on Sunday night, like this Ravens defense just is not good. They don't get after the passer, and their secondary is not very good. They don't force any turnovers in any of these big games. So I would go with the defensive coach. And, Gene, if you had to make me bet it, I think Jesse Minter's probably the guy they end up hiring.
So, PJ, let me explore an alternate point of view here, because I also saw John Harbaugh and Todd Monken beat the Packers and the Bears, two NFC playoff teams, with Snoop Huntley behind center. I don't know how bad of a coach they were, and I'm sure that there was a rift between Jackson and Monken, or they didn't get along, has been kind of reported, and that one had to go. It's either him or it's me, and you know, he was injured, but was he injured? All of that aside, I still wondered, is this the right move? Did they get rid of the right guy, or is Lamar, for as talented as he is Lamar actually the issue?
No, I still definitely think it's Harbaugh. You know, it is obviously, people do point to that. Their two best wins this season were with Huntley under center. I do think Lamar didn't have his best season because he was hurt and he just couldn't run. And in those games against Chicago and Green Bay, you know, Huntley, obviously his legs were a big factor in those games. And Lamar, we just all saw it. He just didn't have his normal burst that he normally has. So I think Lamar going into next year fully healthy, and he was great in that fourth quarter against the Steelers, I think he's going to be fine. And, you know, obviously that's only one side of the ball. The Ravens defense these last few years, again, guys, they just cannot get stops in crucial times, in crucial spots. You know, it's funny, a couple weeks ago when the Steelers were playing the Browns and the Ravens needed the Steelers to lose that game, Pittsburgh was trailing by 7 in the final minute, and they were going down the field trying to score a touchdown. And I remember sitting there thinking, you know, I'm glad I'm rooting on the Browns defense instead of the Ravens, because if the Ravens were in this spot, I wouldn't trust them to get a stop, whereas with Cleveland's defense, I do. And then we saw that play out on Sunday. So, look, they're going all in on Lamar, as they should. They feel like he can win a Super Bowl. I think he can too. I just think it was time for a change. But I do think in the right situation that Harbaugh can be successful in his next stop.
We're talking to PJ Glass, our betting expert here in the Sports Bar, as we'll get to the NFL playoffs here in a second, PJ. But, tomorrow night, yeah, we'll all be watching. And who would have thought that the last team standing from the SEC is actually going to be the Ole Miss Rebels taking on Miami? And there was a lot of noise around the Hurricanes getting in the first place. But, boy, they've silenced the doubters here. Miami actually a favorite by 3.5, the Fiesta Bowl tomorrow night. PJ, how do you play this?
I love Ole Miss. I love them plus the points. I love them outright. I think they're going to win the game. I would also look at the over as well. I think Ole Miss is going to be a good over team. I really think this is a bad matchup for Miami, you guys, because Ole Miss, I think their pace and their ability to go up tempo and Shamlis just wreaking havoc on their defense and extending plays, I think it's going to be really tough for them. Also, you guys know, I mean, I've been coming on long enough where, you know, I talk about this stuff, but when you get a team like Miami, who's great as an underdog, right? Beat Notre Dame earlier this year as an underdog, beat A&M in the first round, beat Ohio State. Well, now they're a favorite. Now they're expected to win, and you kind of get them in this different type role while Ole Miss continues to play the underdog card, and they continue to have this chip on their shoulder with Lane Kiffin leaving and all these sorts of things. So I do like Ole Miss. You know, I think their defense is a little bit of a concern going up against that Miami rushing attack and certainly some of the receivers that they have. But Shamlis is just playing so well. They have so much confidence, and I don't know, guys. They just kind of have that almost like Team of Destiny vibe right now, right? Like the way that they won that Georgia game and obviously the things they've been dealing with. So I like Ole Miss. I think they win that game. Keep in mind, too, guys, like when we had the quarterfinal round happening in college football, the look-ahead line in this game was a pick'em. Miami and Ole Miss minus 110 each way. Now Miami's minus 3.5. I understand they upset Ohio State, but Ole Miss also upset Georgia. So I just think it's too many points. I like the Rebels to win the game.
On Friday night, we get a rematch from earlier this year, Big Ten matchup between Indiana and Oregon. What say you, PJ?
Really tough game. I'm going to tease this game up to plus 10 with one of the NFL games that we'll talk about here in a second. I think Oregon in a teaser is the way to go. I mean, Indiana only favored by 3.5. Like, that line's probably telling you to bet Oregon, isn't it? Right, being that small. Everybody just watched Indiana pummel Alabama. They already went to Eugene and beat Oregon this season. And Indiana, I mean, what's just so impressive about them is that they just don't beat themselves. They just execute. They run the ball well. They throw it. They tackle on defense. They stop the run. They just do everything well. So, you watch that Oregon-Texas Tech game, and Oregon's making a lot of mistakes. You watch Bama and Indiana, and the Hoosiers are just executing and making play after play. So I think the Hoosiers win, but, man, that line at 3.5 makes me a little nervous. So instead, I'm just going to tease up Oregon to plus 10. I do think it's a close game, but I think Indiana wins.
We'll take a look here at the NFL matchup, CPJ, and we'll leave the Bills here for last for the suspense, right? Rams and Carolina. Now, 10.5. That is a lot of points, right? And this game was very entertaining just a short while ago. But, I mean, are we feeling really good about the Rams covering 10.5? Is there another play in this matchup?
We should also congratulate PJ on being the only person I know that said preseason the Carolina Panthers were going to win the NFC South. Big win for you, PJ.
Big win for my Panthers, Danger. I appreciate it. I don't think they're going to win this game, though, fellas. I can pretty confidently say that. I think the Rams are going to win. I'd probably lay it with the Rams, too, if I had to. The reason Carolina is in the playoffs is because how great they have been at home this season and all the upsets that they have had at home this season. But to beat this Rams team twice is going to be a tall task. Devontae Adams is going to be back for this game for the Rams. And, Stafford had a couple turnovers in that game in the regular season meeting. He threw a pick 6. So I just, with the experience of the Rams, with so many of these players on the Panthers roster getting their first taste of playoff football, I think the Rams are going to roll. So I haven't bet it yet. I'm waiting to see if maybe we can get a 10. But I would lean towards LA in that game.
Saturday night, we got Bears and Packers. I don't know if you've heard this or not, PJ, but they tell me that it's the oldest rivalry in all of the NFL. They've only faced each other. This will be the third time that they face each other in the postseason. They've seen each other twice, obviously, already this year. We remember the Week 16 game. Neither team has won since then. What do you make?
The line actually shifted here. So, PJ, this is one of those matchups, and I'm going to hand the ball over to you because you laid this on us last year. Like, wow, give us that stat when it comes to wild card teams who missed the postseason the previous year.
So since 2017, guys, so going back the last 8 years now, heading into year 9 of this stat, teams that missed the playoffs the previous year and then are a favorite in the wild card round, 1-16 against the spread. It was 0-2 last year with the Texans, outright upset over the Chargers, the Rams, outright upset over the Vikings. So you're right, Gene. The Bears were a team that fit this stat. They opened up as an early favorite. The Packers now are looking like a favorite at most spots. So don't feel as great about this matchup as I did once the Bears were favored. We have another game coming up that we'll talk about in a little bit that does fit this trend. Mm-hmm. I like the Bears, though, guys. I like the Bears. Again, it's a line that's telling you to bet Green Bay. They probably should be 2-0 against the Bears this season, but then again, the Bears maybe could have won the game in Lambeau potentially. Chicago just gives me so many vibes to the Washington team from last year, where it's a first-year head coach, and there's just a team that's or a coach in his first year with the team. Obviously, Dan Quinn was a coach with the Falcons before he was with Washington. But the Bears have just found so many ways to win all these games that they have no business of winning. And I think people are looking forward to fading them in the playoffs, especially coming off a loss to the Lions, where it's like, all right, the Bears have had this great regular season, but now that you're playing good teams, it's going to catch up with you. I do think it's going to catch up with the Bears eventually, just like it did with the Commanders when they went up against the Eagles. But I don't think the Packers are the team that's going to beat the Bears. I think it's going to be a Rams or it's going to be a Seahawks or it's going to be one of the top teams. So I think Chicago's going to find a way. I told you I like Oregon in a teaser, though. I would pair it with the Packers at +7. I like taking the Packers in the teaser better than I like taking the Bears. So Packers +7, Oregon +10. That's how I would play the game. I would tease those two together, but if you had to make me pick it, I'd lean Chicago.
Okay. That one team I have trouble putting my finger on. I'm not the only one here. Philadelphia, defending world champs, saw them just 2 weeks ago in Buffalo and like, hey, that defense is nasty. They get Jalen Carter back. Jalen Phillips, what an addition to that pass rush, but the offense obviously disjointed. And when I don't know if you always play the guess the line kind of thing. I was a little surprised that the line 4.5 over a 49er team has been pretty good, but coming off a loss where they didn't look so great against Seattle. So, PJ, your thoughts on this one? This is the one I'm really confused on.
Gene, I mean, this line's been getting hammered, man. The Eagles opened up at like a 1.5-point favorite at some spots. And as you mentioned, now we're all the way up to 4.5. So people continue to bet Philadelphia. I think it's because so many people watched the Niners-Seahawks game on Saturday night. They saw how effective Seattle was running the football, and we obviously know that's what the Eagles are going to want to do with Saquon Barkley. Now, that run game has been nowhere near what it was last year. The offensive line has not been as good as it was, and that passing game has been super inconsistent. But I tend to lean towards Philly in this game as well. I don't think I'm going to end up betting it because, again, I just think it's gotten to the point where it's too many points. But the Eagles' defense might be one of the top 2 or 3 defenses in football. It's terrific. And offensively, I think you just have to give Philly the benefit of the doubt that when we get to this time of the year, they just find a way, And so often, like, that's how you win games in playoff football. You don't have to be flashy. You don't have to be the team that scores 30 points a week. You just got to find a way to win. That's what the Eagles do, and I think that's what they do on Sunday. I think those injuries with the Niners are starting to catch up with them. Now they're playing some of the top teams in the NFC. So I like Philly to win that game.
Sunday night in Foxborough, it'll be the 2 seed, the Patriots, hosting the Chargers. And with the Chargers, it's been like injuries all season long. I mean, they were injury bitten before the season even started with their offensive line and some of the losses that they've had to endure. Yet here they are. They find their way into the postseason. Do you give them a chance against Drake May and against the Patriots at home?
I certainly do. So that stat that we were talking about, guys, right?
Yeah.
Since 2017, wild card teams missed the playoffs the previous year like New England did, and now they're a favorite. The Chargers were on the other side of this last year, and we saw how that went for them. So, look, Drake May could win league MVP. Vrabel's done a great job. Travion Henderson's a nice up-and-coming running back. Their defense has been solid this year. But from a matchup standpoint, I think the Chargers really do match up well with New England. Again, the Patriots, with all those injuries that they've suffered here the last couple months in the front seven, run defense not as good as it once was. With Hampton back to being healthy, they can lean on him and run the football. And Herbert, I mean, he was a disaster last year in the playoffs. I think he's going to be much better in this game. But really, I like the matchup with the Chargers defense going up against this Patriots offense because the Pats rely so much on explosive passing plays, and the Chargers are one of the best in the NFL at limiting those explosive plays. So with the season that New England's had, winning 14 games, all this excitement around Drake May, it feels like the kind of game, man, where the Chargers, I think they're going to cover, and I think they're going to win that game. So that would be my my upset of Wild Card Weekend, fellas. I think the Chargers are going to beat the Patriots.
Ooh, that would set up Chargers at Broncos, and we'll get to the Bills game in a little bit. That would certainly. I as much as I would love to see the Bills against New England, really the only way that's going to happen is in the AFC Championship game, the way it would line up. Monday night. Houston, Pittsburgh. This is one of my favorite betting cliches, PJ. Beware of the home underdog on Monday Night Football. Well, yeah, that's what the Steelers are. They're actually, it's yes, the Steelers are getting the 3 points here. So your thoughts on this game? Because I look at 39.5 as the total on this game. That just tells me, oh boy, if this comes down to a special teams play or a field goal missed or made one way or another, maybe the Steelers have a chance, PJ? Am I crazy in thinking that?
So, guys, another crazy stat we have this weekend is that the Steelers have won 23 straight home games on Monday Night Football, which is just insane. So in these types of spots, with the extra week to prep, they are normally very, very good. We get Tomlin as the home dog, which we always like when we're betting the Steelers. Look, this Texans defense, we all know how good it is. I like the under in the game at 39.5. I think it's going to be ugly. I think it's going to be low scoring. DeMeco Ryans knows that he can't have his offense lose him this game, right? You heard Collinsworth talk about in the Sunday night game, Ravens-Steelers, but the way that game was playing out for a lot of the game, you just don't want to make the turnover. Like, punting in this game is not a bad thing. I think with DK Metcalf back, with the way that Rodgers and the Steelers looked in the fourth quarter, people might think, oh, maybe the offense found something. The Texans and Ravens defenses are just in different stratospheres right now. So I think it's a low-scoring game. I like under 39.5. And I look at Pat Freiermuth over 32.5 receiving yards. Again, Metcalf is back. So many people are going to talk about that. But the loss of Darnell Washington is going to get a lot more snaps to Freiermuth attacking the middle of the field against that Texans defense. With that pass rush, Rodgers has to get the ball out of his hands quick. So I think he looks for his tight end. I like Freiermuth over receiving yards. He'd be a guy that I would target in the prop market.
Say that again. They've won 23 straight home Monday night games?
Isn't that crazy? The Steelers, yeah.
That's insane. I mean,
I know.
A crazy stat. All right, PJ, our final game of Super Wildcard Weekend. It's the game we've spent most of our time talking about here, the Bills and the Jags. The Bills struggle on the road in the postseason. They've yet to win with Sean McDermott as their head coach on the road in the postseason. What say you on the Bills and the Jags?
You know what's funny about this game, guys? And obviously you have a better pulse on this thing than I would, but it just feels like listening to a lot of people talk about this game this week, a lot of people like the Jags, which is like shocked me. They're playing really well. They're the home team. Lawrence has been excellent. I just think this is your classic case of if this game was played in the regular season, if this was week 19, I'd like Jacksonville. We're in the playoffs now. It's a different beast. And so much of the talking point is how Mahomes is out, Lamar is out, Burrow is out, all these top quarterbacks, all these teams with experience. And yet people are betting the Jags in this game. Now, Jacksonville, you could make an argument they're the better team. Maybe you could make the argument that they maybe even have the better coach, even though it's been year one with Liam Cohen. He's done a terrific job. And Trevor Lawrence has been playing great down the stretch. But I just think, like, too many people are forgetting, like, playoff football, it's just a different animal, and it's just a different beast. And, I think the Bills are going to win this game. So I understand why people are liking the Jags, but I just don't think enough are really separating the two between regular season and postseason. So I do like Buffalo. What I will say, I think the winner of that game is going to the Super Bowl. So obviously a massive game, but I like the Bills in that one.
Wow. All right, both you gentlemen. PJ, do you know the last time? Don't answer this or recuse yourself. Mike Danger, take a guess, the calendar year, the last time the Steelers lost at home on Monday Night Football.
Ooh. I'm going to say 98.
PJ Glasser, do you have a guess?
I was going even earlier than that. I was going like 93.
The answer, you got to go back to Three Rivers Stadium, October 14th, 1991.
Wow.
They lost to the Giants.
That's insane.
Crazy.
That's an insane stat. I mean, like, when you hear something like that, how did the Steelers lose? I can't. And the way that the Steelers operate, too, like, they always, they're inconsistent. They play to the level of their competition. They win games they shouldn't win. They lose games they shouldn't lose. This is setting up like this. The Steelers at home on Monday night. They shouldn't beat Houston. They're going to beat Houston, aren't they, PJ?
They probably will. I'm sure they'll be throwing the holy water on the end zone of the game. I mean, they're going to pull out. When I saw Lamar throw that interception into T.J. Watt's hands, I knew the game was over. I just that is such a Steeler bounce because they lose by 2, and, of course, that pick led to the 3 points that decided it. So, it might be just a great game to bet live because we all watch enough football and we all watch enough of the Steelers to know that they just get bounces that really no other team gets, especially when they're at home. So if early on in the game, like you see a batted interception like that, you see a crazy fumble recover, something where you can just tell it's going to be one of those Tomlin voodoo magic type nights, I think they could be a really good live play. But, yeah, I mean, going back to 91, I mean, that is crazy.
You weren't even alive in 91, were you, PJ?
I was not. No.
Oh my God. You've
I was,
never seen the Steelers lose a home game on Monday night in your life.
That is true. Wow, when you put it that
Jeez.
way, that is 100% true.
That's crazy. PJ, really appreciate you giving us some of your time, man. It's always good catching up.
Always good, fellas. Enjoy the game this week. We'll talk again next week.
Appreciate you. There's PJ Glasser. That is the sports bar betting expert, PJ Glasser, who joins us every week at this time.
Yeah, and you can catch him filling in time to time on BetMGM tonight, which, by the way, 6 o'clock tonight, the new time there, and give that a sample there. Pat Boyle, that seems to be Evans and Boyle seem to be a good pairing there.
Yeah,
tonight,
well, the big noise is he's a lot. He's a lot to take in, but he knows his stuff, and if you like a little action, he'll get you some winners. See, I mean, I remember him from when he was doing fantasy on Yahoo, right? I mean, follow his advice, usually profit ensues. Lee Steinberg, super agent, joining us in the sports bar. Next hour, we're also going to chalk some Rochester Nighthawks with Thomas McConvey joining us during happy hour before we close up shop here at 6 o'clock tonight. We have time for your calls if you want to join us as well. 585-866-4FAN, our phone number, 585-866-4326.
And streaming online and in the Odyssey app at The Fan Rochester. The sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
A walkthrough today for the Bills. A lot of players listed on the injury report. Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Josh Palmer, Maxwell Harrison, all not practicing. The good news, Josh Allen, a full participant. Allen certainly knows what's at stake.
Yeah, I mean, backs against the wall. Yeah, you have to have that mindset of, I mean, you win the game or you go home. And that's exactly what the playoffs are about. And you always want to end your season on a win, and, you know, that's our main goal.
Bills and Jags are covered Sunday. Will begin at 9 a.m. Super agent Lee Steinberg will join us later this hour here in the Sports Bar. Rochester Americans hockey tonight. It'll be both Don Stevens and Andrew Mossbrooks on the call. The Amherst at Syracuse. Sabres win over Vancouver. They're back in action tomorrow night at the Garden against the Rangers. The next tonight at the Garden, they're looking to break a 4-game slide as they host the Clippers. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950, The Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the Sports Bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the Sports Bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the Sports Bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Super agent Lee Steinberg joins the Sports Bar in about 20 minutes or so. We have plenty of time for your calls as well at 866-4FAN as we welcome you back in to Rochester's only sports talk show, the Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia. We are here every afternoon and appreciate you listening at 95.7 FM, AM 950, and the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and also our live video stream on our YouTube channel and Twitch at The Fan Rochester.
Which you are donning your Bears hat there.
If I'm allowed, if you'll allow me. I know. This is a Bills show, but...
Well, let me just point this out. And I felt it was kind of a clickbaity article I saw on Yahoo, but I'm like, okay, I'll click on it, whatever. The top 10 most attractive potential Super Bowl matchups for NBC television in terms of pulling a number. What was number one?
Well, you're bringing up the Bears, so it's got to be the Bears and the Bills.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. The fact of Chicago, you bring in that market, and gosh, of everything in the AFC, it is about the quarterback. It is about the storyline about this franchise that has never gotten to where everybody wants them to. I would think that if the Bills made a run here, people will be pulling for Josh Allen because he's done everything the right way.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunate set of circumstances at Chateau Dangereux over the last few weeks in terms of being able to view all of the NFL action. I'm a Fubo guy. Fubo and NBC are at odds right now. NBC pulled all of their networks from Fubo.
Ooh.
This is something I realized on Thanksgiving.
That's right. Well, this is a Peacock game, though. No, Saturday night.
Saturday night is prime.
Saturday night's prime, yeah.
But who has the Super Bowl? So Peacock it is. We will be holding on to that Peacock subscription for football and only football through the month of February. And then, we'll make a family decision after that.
We're idiots. Like, no,
I don't like not knowing where things are. I don't like having to look for things. And then the day of, you're like, oh, it's where? Oh, I got to do I did this for the postseason in Major League Baseball. I'm like, where is how am I going to watch this game? Oh God, we can't get everything all the time the way we want it.
I'm dealing with that right now, and I was working last night, so I'm going to watch it. But I'm dealing with that right now with the Sabres. And when the Sabres were bad, I'm like, all right, yes, I host a talk show, but I can watch the highlights and read up and not have to worry about it.
If the Sabres are bad, we're not talking about them. But when they're winning games, it's like,
and now
what's
it's a problem,
going on? And last night, I can tell you from what I saw, first of all, Metter getting his first NHL goal. So congratulations to Amherst captain Metza. He's on the board. But, they took what was comfortable and made it very uncomfortable at the end. So they get the win, and they've won 11 of 12, and all is well in the Saberhood, but I
don't use that word.
I don't blame you or anybody that would be like, I don't need to see that.
Well, there's no perfect streaming service where you get all your sport. You're living without.
The only perfect one is to buy all of them, and by buying all of them, I mean, are you not doubling or tripling what you were paying for back in the day when you said, "Oh, I just want the things that I want"? We have everything that we asked for. We can have everything that we want.
Here's an idea. Or just go out and support your local establishment. Go watch the game and actually be with friends.
I like that idea, too. My frugal wife, not as big a fan of that idea. Not quite there. And I ran into a buddy who told me when I was watching the game on Sunday with your
more
brother.
Successful, better looking brother, blah, blah, blah. Go ahead.
Another buddy came up to me, and I didn't realize he was a Bengals fan. I'm like, I didn't realize that you were a Bengals guy. He's like, I'm a Bengals guy. And he goes, I come here every week. And my wife says, why don't you just get the ticket? It will be cheaper. And he's like, no, you don't understand. I need to get away from you to watch football games. I'm like, that's a power move.
Wow.
I kind of like it. I kind of like the power move. I don't want to be bothered. I don't want you to be watching the football game with. I want to watch the game on my own terms.
Well, that's like, especially when you're starting out in a new relationship and maybe that other person doesn't understand that I don't want a dialogue. I don't pull me away. It's not the time to like.
My wife will never understand. Will never, ever, ever.
But does
ever
she
understand.
Respect though? Like, those 3 hours are your 3 hours?
She, I think, is when I say to her, "Look, it's fun. That's all I'm trying to do is just blow off a little steam and have a little bit of fun for a few hours. That's it. That's it. Not doing anything nefarious. It's just me having fun and blowing off a little steam. And yeah, sometimes if you want to have fun, you got to spend some money to do it."
Now, the opposite end in my home, and I don't see him that often anymore because he goes to college, but Kyle, my son, has gotten really into football, really into the Bills, which is great, except on game day, where every play that goes for 3 yards or every call is dumb, and this is dumb, and that is dumb. Yeah. He's angry, and like that is not fun either. So I don't have.
Well, what's cool this year with the Bears being a playoff team, and it came at a time where I got both of my daughters kind of invested, and they're both excited. They both have their favorite play. They both love Roma Dunze. And so, if I could equate what you're saying about Kyle, my daughters are almost an annoying pace asking me about Roma Dunze every day. Is Roma practicing? Is he going to play? Is he practicing? Is he going to play? I'm like, I don't have the injury report. I don't know. I haven't seen it. Let's just say yes. Yeah, okay. I'm sure he's going to play in the playoffs. You in? Good. You're in. Great. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be a fun weekend of action. Hey, look, the action starts tomorrow night if you're a football fan with the college football semifinals. And PJ was great last hour laying out his favorite plays for Miami, Ole Miss, and Indiana, Oregon as well on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, those are fun matchups. This is kind of what a lot of people were asking for. Give me something other than Alabama and Georgia and Ohio State, right? Well, voila. Here you are. Welcome to the new world of college football. And these are programs you've heard of, but still it's going to be weird seeing Indiana as the champ. Or even Ole Miss.
Right. Okay, back to NBC for a second. Would it be shocking if next season they're down a studio analyst because he returns to an NFL sideline? Jason Garrett is interviewing for the Titans head coaching job on Friday.
Oh, darn it. I thought you were like saying Collinsworth or something like
yeah,
that.
Right.
I could see Garrett sweet-talking his way into that. I mean, he is polished on TV, and when he shows up, he has that aura, and he's going to be able to know, and he can, rattle off what he did, once upon a time with a young Dak Prescott. And we have that. We have a quarterback that I think is better for, we can work around in Cam Ward. I'm telling you, like as soon as you told me that, I'm like, well,
that would make sense.
That makes sense.
Go to Tennessee and you get a fan base excited, maybe. They need something in Tennessee to get the fan base excited. Tennessee saw a 9.1% drop in attendance this season, which was the biggest reason why NFL attendance fell by almost a full percent in 2025.
Another thing, too, with Garrett, I think it would be unusual, right? Because once the coach gets into TV and spends more than a year, I'm not talking about Sean Payton needs a year layover or Belichick or whoever. Once they get to year 2 in TV, oh, this is good. I'm hammering checks. I get to do what I want, and I just get to criticize other people, and they don't get to criticize me. I can think of Vermeil. Dick Vermeil was doing.
He was gone for a while.
He was gone for a long time, and then he finally got a chance with the Rams. But he was doing TV in the interim. But that's rare for a coach that gets out for an extended period and then decides to jump back in.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who else could fit that bill. Rex has been gone for a long time, and he still wants to coach. I don't know if he'll ever be a head coach again. Gruden. I always bring up Gruden. Gruden, I think we forget. Like, he was young when he was at his peak.
Right. Yeah. Then we talked to our guy, Scott Reynolds of the Pewter Report, and he's friends with him and talking like, no, Gruden wants back in because he was burned out the first time he left. And then when the Raiders hired him, that was, that's the obvious one I guess I missed there.
Yeah, but I think Garrett interviewing in Tennessee actually might be something that could be something that maybe and I'm saying that because I think Tennessee wouldn't know how to identify the young up-and-comer that can come in. And I just think they're kind of a dysfunctional organization, and he might actually be the adult in the room that can steer things maybe in a more productive way for that team.
Well, they have to also get some star power because don't they have to sell tickets and PSLs and suites? And I have no idea how that's going.
Yes,
but
they do. They have the new stadium coming up, too. I mean, you more excited about Garrett or Matt Nagy? Matt Nagy, he of the Golf Visor. Yeah, taking interviews with the Titans, also the Raiders and the Cardinals this week. So there's a handful of the coaching carousel will continue to spin, and of course Harbaugh just kind of accelerated that rotation a little bit with yesterday's news that he was let go. Meanwhile, the Giants conducting interviews today with Mike Kafka. And we knew that Kevin Stefanski took dinner with the team last night, met with them again today. But you would imagine that Harbaugh is going to be talking to the Giants in short order.
That stat from PJ Glasser that the Steelers haven't lost a home game, 23 straight on Monday Night Football they've won at home. That dates back to 1991. We figured out. How about this for a stat? The Rams a 10.5-point road favorite at Carolina. If this holds, they will be the biggest NFL playoff road favorite in Super Bowl history, in the Super Bowl era.
Wow.
Yeah, you would think about that. Like, how could a road favorite be a double-digit favorite? Well, this is how. NFC West, really good division and really bad division. So, and we've had all that debate, Danger, like, should the team with the better record host? And this would be the shining example of that, right?
No, somebody will say something in the offseason. There's no way. That team did everything they could to not win that division, and they still get to host a playoff game? Get out of here with that.
Well, then just blow up the divisions then and just make it one big melting pot, because do we really need to see a losing record Carolina Panther team in the postseason?
So here's another stat for you, and this is this relates to the Bills and the Jags, and this is courtesy. They're talking about this earlier on GR. Since the 2020 season, the Jacksonville Jaguars have 0 wins and 16 losses in games where the total point line has been set at 49 or more. What's the current over-under right now?
It's pretty high.
It's 50, isn't it?
52.
Okay.
52.
This would qualify. Since 2020, the Jags are 0-16 in games where the total points line has been set at 49 or more.
We're going to talk to our Jags expert, Mia O'Brien. That'll be on Friday. But how did Jacksonville get from this disaster of a team that gets obliterated by the Bills just last season on Monday Night Football?
A lot of the same pieces.
And Trevor Lawrence looks like a train wreck. Like, Leon Coleman should get the Coach of the Year regardless of what happens here for how he flipped this organization so quickly.
Agreed. Yeah, I think he's more than deserving of that.
Tampa, you kind of blew it there by not promoting him and keeping Todd Bowles, but I digress.
And the idea, yesterday I was talking about how the NFL has a type for head coaches. It's either you've had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay or you look like you've stepped off the cover of GQ. Cohen doesn't really have either of those. I don't think he was a McVay guy, was he, before he was in Tampa? I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's a connection there to him and McVay, but to the point of a coach needing a little bit of swagger. I mean, it couldn't have been more of a disaster when he got introduced with a Duval. Like, oh my God, this guy's a dork. They're going to chew him up and spit him out. There's no way.
Oh, come on.
That guy's going to work.
Danger. He was the Rams OC in 2022.
There you go. So I didn't follow the trajectory, but I should have known that, yeah, of course he had a cup of coffee with Sean McVay, and it's working. It's working for Jacksonville. But that stat I thought was pretty interesting from 2020 on, that the Jags are winless in games where the total point line is at 49 or higher.
Well, if I'm trying to envision how this game will go, do the Bills really want to get into a track meet with Jacksonville? I'm guessing no. I'm guessing, hey, we've got the rushing king, and yes, you have the number one rushing defense, but you know what? We're confident. I could see McDermott wanting his OC to establish the ground game.
Of course.
And let's not turn it over, and we're going to get to half, and the Bills will be down by 10.
I think that I could see them establishing the run. I know that the Jags' run defense is the best in the league, but I do think that the Bills' offensive line has a physicality unlike what the Jags have been dealing with throughout the course of this season. I think that they have a way about them, almost a switch. And we've seen it from time to time this year. And I think this is the kind of matchup that you see more James Cook early. And are they down early? I don't know that they're down early. I really don't, man. And if you can get to Lawrence, and I know that's a big if, but if you can get to Lawrence, affect Lawrence, get a turnover, get a fumble, a strip sack, something, I think that's the difference in the game. I think it's as simple as just a turnover somewhere in this game. Let Josh Allen do Josh Allen things when he needs to and get that run game going. Cook and Allen, that's what you got. That's who brought you there. Go with them.
Lee Steinberg has a new book coming out. I read it, got the advanced copy. You know his story, right? Super agent. He was really the inspiration for the movie Jerry Maguire, right? And Lee came on really some hard times and literally lost everything. And I can tell you about this because he's got a book he wants to tell you about coming out here in March.
Yeah, we've always enjoyed our conversations with Lee Steinberg, and I have a feeling this one's going to be a little bit more. Well, this one's going to be a little bit more vulnerable. I think we're gonna hear a little bit more about the ups and downs of his life, and also the perspective of what goes on around league circles this time of year when you have head coaches scrambling for interviews and looking for work. We'll get to Lee Steinberg, who's calling in to the Sports Bar here next on The Fan Rochester.
Sports Update.
It's a lengthy injury report for the Bills. Now, the good news, Josh Allen, a full participant today, not practicing. Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Josh Palmer, in addition to Maxwell Harrison. Head coach Sean McDermott on the need to start quickly.
Good football player, a key cog to our offense, and his health and ability to be out there, availability for us is huge for us. And I don't think you need to kind of study the numbers long to take note of that.
Super agent Lee Steinberg joining us next here in the Sports Bar. Emmerich hockey tonight. The Emmerichs playing at Syracuse. Our coverage will begin at 7. Sabres get the win last night. They're back in action at the Garden tomorrow night against the Rangers. Garden tonight. The Knicks looking to break a 4-game slide. They host the Clippers. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Pull up a stool and join us. 585-866-4FAN. 866-432-6. The Sports Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950. The Fan, Rochester.
Always appreciate the time that we get to spend with Lee Steinberg, super agent, joining us in the Sports Bar. The new story to share with all of us coming in the month of March called The Comeback, the new book from Lee Steinberg. Lee, how are you? Thanks for joining us this afternoon.
I'm doing great, and I heard it's 33 in Rochester, so I'm glad I'm in Newport Beach.
Oh, yeah. Well, soon enough. Lee, your team forwarded me an advanced copy of the book. Read it. Why was it important for you to write this book and bear all?
Because I think that in life, we all experience setbacks. It could be financial, it could be health, it could be relationship or marital, could be addictive substances. And there's a way in which we all experience these frustrations and crashes of what we thought our life was going to be. Mine was alcohol. And so the question is not whether or not you're going to experience a reverse in life. It's what do you do after it? How do you employ resilience? How do you come back and rebuild your life? And I thought that sharing my own story with alcohol and plus the stories of things that Steve Young and Patrick Mahomes and Warren Moon and Troy Aikman and a series of other athletes went through helps illustrate the process and the basic values.
After attempts for recovery that didn't take hold, Lee, what changed for you? How were you able to turn that corner?
I had an epiphany at a certain level that my father raised me with two core values. One was treasure relationships, especially family, and the second was try to make a meaningful difference in the world and help people who couldn't help themselves. And at my low point, I wasn't really honoring those principles. So I had an epiphany, a moment in time where I thought, you know what? I'm not a starving peasant in Somalia. I'm not sitting under the bombing pattern in Ukraine. I'm not, I don't have cancer. I'm not sick. And what excuse do I have not to try and come back? And I found a unique fellowship in a 12-step program, and it helped me through.
Lee, how are you today with your sobriety, and how much are you still putting the work into repairing, rebuilding those relationships that took a hit?
Well, that's constant, and so I do all the recovery activities. But we have a great practice in the representation of athletes. We've got health and wellness modalities that I talked about in the book that can help everyone live healthier and longer, and they're breaking out, and we're going to introduce some of them into pro sports. So life is pretty exciting.
Yeah, Lee, we'll have some football questions for you, but one more topic, and I'm just picking your brain personally, and for our listeners too, because we know people that are battling. What would be your advice to the friends or family of ones that are dealing with this disease of addiction?
To reach out and seek help, because the problem with most forms of addiction is that the disease tells you don't have a problem. So the first step is to break denial, know that your life is in crisis. And then there are 12-step programs with unique fellowships. And if you simply engage in following those 12 steps, you can find yourself resilient and ready to face life again.
Lee, we always like having your perspective on the sports bar, because you represented athletes for elite athletes for such a long period of time, and throughout the course of an NFL season or just the calendar, there's silly times. Like right now is silly season if you're a head coach in the NFL, and there are openings, and we got the news of Harbaugh being released by Baltimore yesterday, and immediately knowing that we were going to talk to you today, I'm like, wow, to find out that there reportedly have been 7 teams that reached out to him when there were only 6 openings. How does that work if you're an agent of a coach and you've got a team? I mean, if you're a team, you're not getting rid of your coach unless you know you have Harbaugh signed, sealed, and delivered, correct?
Yes. So John Harbaugh right now is the most valuable free agent in football, and he will have endless opportunities to coach wherever he wants. Could be the New York Giants. And so you sit him down and you say, tell me what your priorities are in this process. Is it short-term economic gain? Is it long-term economic security? Is it the quality of ownership? Is it the roster? Is it, how important is profile? And you list those priorities, and then you list what your options are. And so it gives you a way to structure. And when you hit the opportunity that fulfills most of your goals, that's the place to go.
Lee, on the other end, some of these teams that have vacancies have quarterbacks that might have pull or star players. If you are representing one of those star players, how much voice is there any voice for the players in all this process here in terms of the head coaching search?
Sure, there's constant dialogue that's going on. Anyone would at least want the input if you have a franchise quarterback, and he's not making the coaching decision, that valuable player, but his input is important. I mean, he's like the CEO of your team on the field, and going to keep players and understanding their perspective can be very helpful.
Some believe that the Ravens aren't done with moving off of John Harbaugh, that they could still move off of Lamar Jackson. And I guess when you're in a situation like that where it appears that there was a little bit of friction between coach and quarterback, whether it was the OC or the head coach and the quarterback, that if you're the owner, you could basically just throw your hands up in the air and say, you know what, we're going to start from scratch with people that we know can be cohesive. Is that something that you've seen in your career?
I don't think Lamar Jackson ends up going anywhere. He is the heart and soul of that team. He's very popular with the players. He's an inherent leader. He's a big hero in Baltimore among the fan base. And look, here's the problem. You cannot win in contemporary football without a franchise quarterback. And let's define that as someone that you can build around for 10 to 15 years, someone you can win because of rather than with, and someone in critical moments, throwing a couple interceptions, the game is getting out of hand. What does the quarterback do now? Can he compartmentalize, adopt a quiet mind, and elevate his level of play in critical situations? If you have one of those players, it's essential to keep him. And if not Lamar Jackson, who? So you see teams go through, like the New York Jets go through, or Cleveland go through endless amount of quarterbacks. They have one in Lamar Jackson. This year didn't work out for them. It didn't work out for the Kansas City Chiefs either. But that doesn't mean that you discard what's essential to being competitive.
Super agent Lee Steinberg, the book The Comeback will be coming out in March. He's our guest here in the Sports Bar. One team that has a vacancy, and well, they also have the number 1 overall pick, that being the Raiders. And for folks who don't know, Lee, the inspiration behind the main character in the movie, Jerry Maguire, and the plot line in that movie, Lee, was, hey, you have this hotshot quarterback that comes out, and hey, I don't want to go to this team, I want to go to that team. So, like, in the real world, though, we're assuming Fernando Mendoza is going to be the number 1 overall pick, but like, at what point do things start to get serious here in the draft process between the Raiders and who they would like to pick, making sure that that number 1 overall pick would actually be on board before his name is called?
There's interaction that's going on between that draft pick, his agent, and the team so that they understand the situation. I mean, it was pretty clear that Caleb Williams had doubts about Chicago, and you look at him now. So the point is, you'd want to make sure that the player was on board. Does he have an inherent right to reject whatever team drafts him? No, not under the collective bargaining agreement, but it's just prudent to try to have contact and understand what the plan is. So if you're a top draft pick and draft order is determined by who loses the most, obviously the top quarterback is going to face top teams that have had problems. The questions you're going to ask if you're in the Mendoza camp are, what's the plan going forward? How do we avoid being stuck in a losing pattern?
Lee, what can you share with us about Patrick Mahomes and the injury and the rehab? And we're hearing reports that he's going to spend the offseason in Kansas City attacking that rehab in hopes of returning in time for the start of the season. Is that likely? It typically is a 6 to 9 months?
I've never seen a player that takes more pride and puts more energy into being fit all year round. He never really takes a day off. So he's committed to the process. And the other thing about athletes very often is that they have freakishly pliable bodies that can take the pounding. And so he'll work hard and he'll have a happy result.
Yeah, Lee, last one, and you're in Western New York on the air here, Buffalo Bills country, and there's a lot of pressure externally, maybe internally. Just your view from across the country here, because there's a lot of noise surrounding the Buffalo Bills, what may or may not happen. What's your opinion on what you're seeing here in Buffalo as we enter the playoffs?
So the expectations for certain franchises are that they be competitive in the battle for the Super Bowl. So they're held to higher standards. The best example of that is the 4 years that the Bills went to the Super Bowl. And they lost every year. But it depends on your perspective. That means they were among the 2 best teams in pro football over a 4-year period. That's pretty sensational result. But if you don't win the Super Bowl, now you have Josh Allen, who's as gifted as any quarterback that's played in the NFL in a while. And that gets you going. But it also gets the expectations up. As long as you have Josh Allen, you always have a chance.
Lee, excited for the book to come out this March, The Comeback. We will certainly be checking it out. And as always, we appreciate you carving out some time out of your schedule to join us here in the Sports Bar.
Thank you. You can pre-order the book now on Amazon or Barnes & Noble and be first to get it.
Yeah, and I will vouch. It's a great How long did that take you, Lee, to put all the thoughts down?
When you're an author, you keep going over the manuscript over and over and over again and trying to improve it. And the truth is, even after the book's in, you're thinking about all the ways that you could have expressed yourself better and the topics you didn't cover. So it took about a year and a half.
Wow. Lee, thanks so much for the time. Congratulations on the book. We're really excited for it to come out and the people that ultimately it will help.
I appreciate it.
There he is, Lee Steinberg, super agent, joining us here in the sports bar. Yeah, I would imagine, look, writing is an art, and you hear about tortured artists all the time. And I would think that if you're putting something out there, you're probably second-guessing it constantly. What a process, and what an achievement to be able to say, I'm a published author, or I have a book out, and Lee's book is going to be fantastic, the comeback.
But it's sometimes in Hollywood, like, alcoholism, whatever, looks good. It can be really, really ugly. And Lee is telling you in this book some of the ways in which it was really, really ugly. He was bankrupt. He would go to literally like a park bench with a paper bag and drink his vodka. He was so broke that he went up one time just to the cashier he knew and like, oh my gosh, I forgot my wallet. I'm sorry. Can you get tomorrow? Oh yeah, no problem, Lee. Like, that's how bad it got for Lee. And thank goodness that, for him and, for anybody else, certainly, we're thinking of you on that.
We're going to take a quick break here. We'll get you updated on the NFL coaching carousel. The Bills had a walkthrough today. The injury report is out. We'll recap that as well. We have happy hours still on the way as well. Plenty of time for your calls at 866-4FAN. And Rochester Nighthawk Thomas McConvey before we close up shop at 6 as well. All on the Fan.
Coverage that goes deeper. Sabres reality checks and all the Rochester Ramworks action. This is The Fan Rochester. Bills fans, Odyssey is your home for football. Stay up to date on everything Bills, no matter where you are, with the Odyssey app and the sports leader, The Fan Rochester.
Write to us on X or on our YouTube feed, as Chris in South Central Kentucky writing in, does the NFL forgive John Gruden, and does he become the head coach of the Giants? I don't think the Giants, but the bigger question is, you have these vacancies. It's a 50. I'm not going to rule it out, but
I think the NFL says, yeah, well, you can come back and coach. But
well, the NFL's but
let's wipe out all the legal stuff that we've got going on and start with a clean slate.
Yeah, I mean, is it a clean enough path for it to happen now?
There would have to be some concessions made, I would think. And I don't know that anybody's going to go through that headache, because time is of the essence, and you want to kind of move quickly. You've got a lot going on. If you're one of these teams looking for a coach, sooner rather than later is the answer as to when you get your guy in there, and anything that's a delay or that's going to hold you up, or that the juice might not be worth the squeeze. I mean, that might be one of the reasons why you don't hear Gruden's name up for any of these jobs. But Gruden in Tampa, if they were to move off of Bowles, I guess Bowles is saying, you were telling me.
Well, that's like, so Todd Bowles is back as the head coach of the Buccaneers. This according to Todd Bowles.
Do you trust the source?
Well, he says he met with ownership. Hey, I'm good, everybody. And yeah, you're the head coach today. And
I joked with Gruden that the Raiders should bring him back, if only to get something for the $10 million they're paying him not to coach. Yeah, now with Stefanski and now with Harbaugh, I think you have a couple of candidates that will have multiple options. Harbaugh reportedly had 7 different teams reach out to his agent.
Now, the conflicting reports, Josina Anderson saying that the Dolphins were one of them. And then the local report in Miami said, no, that didn't happen. Okay, well, if Miami, I think I'm putting out the feeler, especially that Stephen Ross really, 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 really wanted his Michigan guy, Jim Harbaugh, once upon a time.
That's right. Yeah, who fits that bill the most? Who do you think? I mean, I think
Miami, hands down.
Miami. I would also say Tampa. Like, I can't rule out Tampa. Like, I think to myself, Tampa could give him a lot of money and give him more of what. I mean, does he want to be a GM and head coach? Does he want full autonomy and control?
No, but you want to be able to be. You don't want a shotgun marriage, right? Like, you want to be able to hire the GM. It's kind of one of the secret things why it's worked in Buffalo. Like, that was the guy. Brandon Beane was brought in by Sean McDermott.
Yeah, they've always had alignment, or at least you believe that they've always had alignment.
And Timmy writing in, too. Like, we haven't spent enough time on, like, how McDermott went a little out of his way to talk about Jacoby Myers.
So much so that it almost sounds as if it's sour grapes. Like, he's done really well for him. That he's there.
Yeah.
Wonder what that would be like. What would that be like? They had the opportunity, I would imagine, just like anybody.
Well, the Jalen Phillips was never going to happen, nor was the first round pick price tag, I guess, for Jalen. Well, that didn't upset me. But when Shaheed went to Seattle, and they've used him as a returner, and he's actually popped one for them. But you have Ray Davis. The Myers one we didn't really kind of explore, because at that time it was like, oh, that's Jacksonville, whatever. They're not going to be
not only
anything.
that, Myers gave off this impression of being a malcontent, difficult.
He's losing with the Raiders.
Right. And now he's everything you would want in a wide receiver. And, he's not the most talented wide receiver on that roster, and he's thriving. They've made the most of it. Will it be enough? It's going to be a fun week. Can't wait to continue the conversation, continue to break down the Jags and the Bills. You mentioned it earlier. We'll speak on Friday to Mio O'Brien, our Jags insider in Jacksonville, Friday afternoon. Oh, this is good. Maggie is joining us tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, Maggie Gray. Now, if you love our station, which I do, I work here, that show's no longer on because that network is no longer a thing. Maggie on the last show said, hey, if you like the show, we are crossing T's and dotting I's. That's the way she said it. So it wasn't as compared to Writer Than You where they had, which is fine the way they did it. It was like a 3-week send-off and everything. It was kind of guarded. It was like there was no emotional send-off like, hey, stay tuned. So all I can tell you is stay tuned on Maggie and Perla.
Okay.
But in the interim, you know she loves the Buffalo Bills. You know she has opinions that are unique on the Buffalo Bills. And I don't know what she's thinking for this game, but she has accepted our invite to come into the sports bar tomorrow.
I love that. And she's in New York City, and that right now, like between the dysfunction of the Jets and the Giants coaching search, maybe we'll even ask her about the Knicks being. I mean, there's just there. She's in the center of it all. So,
and her husband's from Rochester.
That's right.
So there you go. She's one of us.
She is. We've claimed her as ours. Tomorrow at 3:25, Maggie Gray stopping by the sports bar. So plenty of Bills and Jags talk for the rest of the week here. And I have a feeling I know which direction Gene is leaning.
No, you don't.
I feel like I have a spidey sense that you might be leaning a certain way. We'll make our predictions on Friday. I will be on with Duffy, Tommy, and Kimmy in the break room on CMF Friday morning for another Tommy Tells It Like It Is. We were brainstorming ideas for Ryan and what he should dress up as. We don't know yet. We don't have anything finalized, but that'll be Friday morning as well.
Would it shock you that the TV ratings year over year went up? No, of course not. It's the NFL. There are more people, but double digits? How much more can this thing grow? 10%. The average game went up to 18.7. Mind you, this is a year where Patrick Mahomes wasn't available in the down the stretch, and some other marquee teams, the Cowboys, down and out. 10%? This league can do no wrong at this point.
It's funny. That's a contrast to the attendance figures for the NFL, because the NFL attendance dropped by, it's minimal, by 0.8%. In Tennessee, that was the biggest drop. 9.1% drop in attendance in Tennessee. Average per game attendance, 69,055 fans. So more people watching on TV, less people going to games?
Well, I wouldn't. Are they factoring in the European games? And would those stadiums be smaller? I don't know. Well,
that drop in Tennessee is significant. I mean, for you talking about a double-digit increase in viewership, an almost double-digit drop in attendance in Tennessee, a team that has no hope and looked like a JV team for a good chunk of the season.
Well, I tell you, which team is going to have the biggest drop next year is going to be Buffalo. Like there's going to be less seats. What are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, in Tennessee, also new stadium being built, new PSL. I mean, they're following the same formula as Buffalo here. They're going to have to start selling PSLs and selling hope awful quick. Who becomes the next head coach in Tennessee? Who can inspire some hope and get a fan base that isn't going to as many games as they used to, excited about their team again? It'll be interesting to watch. And when I saw Jason Garrett interviewing, I'm like, yeah, Jason Garrett in Tennessee. He'll interview on Friday. Do they opt for the familiar name, the guy that you see on TV, or do they?
Yes.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense if that would have happened.
Well, I think Garrett is savvy enough. You're only going through this if you know you got it, right? He doesn't want to go through the whole thing and then have, you went for the job and you didn't get it.
Well, Mike McCarthy is going to go through the job process, the job interview process with the Giants. Do you think he stands a chance?
Yeah. If they don't get Harbaugh, I could see the Giants. That's what that team needs.
Or Stefanski?
Yeah. They need some experience.
He's plan C. Interesting. The Bills had their walkthrough today, first session of the week. No Terrell Bernard, no Maxwell Hairston, no Ty Johnson. Gino, you saw him in the walking boot after the game on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Matt Milano was sick. Josh Palmer's ankle is bothering him. He was a non-participant. Matt Prater also did not practice. Josh Allen, not on the injury report, fully participating with that foot issue. He has not had 3 full practices in a week since dating back to week 16, the last time he wasn't on the injury report. So good news for Josh Allen. Doesn't appear to be any restrictions. As far as Matt Prater, Bills kicker, here's Sean McDermott.
We won't kick Matt today, but we will try and kick him tomorrow so we can kind of get a feel for where he's at. And yet, hopefully he's good to go as of tomorrow. And then we can, and this is just on a day by day, right now, that's the plan. We can take a look tomorrow and just see where he's at. And then hopefully all is well. And he gets a chance to then kind of get back to some rest after that as we head into game time. So I think we'll know a little bit more tomorrow, maybe end of the day, end of business tomorrow.
Who thinks this is a good idea? Who thinks this is a good idea?
Did you not just see John Harbaugh lose his job because the kicker couldn't do his job?
Yeah, that would be the nightmare, right? Like, Matt Prater, he's good to go. Oh, no, he's out of the game. The Bills have to go for 2, and they can't kick a field goal at the end, or they trot out Wisnowski and he misses a 30-yard field goal. I don't know. Who thinks this is a good idea?
So you're on board with them starting Matt Wright. Matt Wright, sign him to the active.
I think it's just like, hey, Wright, show us something here in practice. Make sure you're the guy. And if he's kicking, the fact that he was a Jaguar, which I totally forgot. You know why I totally forgot about that? Because my mind wants to erase that 9-6 Urban Meyer win.
Yeah, he accounted for all of Jacksonville's points that afternoon.
The final win for Urban Meyer in this league. Right?
That's right. Crazy. Happy hour is next on The Fan. We have plenty of time if you want to join us at 866-4FAN. You can also reach out to us on X at The Fan Rochester, all of our platforms at The Fan Rochester. And we'll also speak to Thomas McConvey before we close up shop. Rochester Nighthawks back home on Saturday. The rivalry.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
before that in Philadelphia, I want to ask him, too. Like, we're going to get another goalie fight.
Yeah.
Happened last time they played Philadelphia. The rematch is in Philly Friday.
I like it. So we'll talk some Nighthawks here during happy hour as well. Plus your calls. Again, 866-4326.
Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. The Fan Rochester Sports Update.
It's a lengthy injury report for the Buffalo Bills. Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano under the weather, Josh Palmer. Also not practicing today, of course, Maxwell Hairston. The good news, Josh Allen, a full participant. Allen certainly knows what's at stake.
Yeah, I mean, back's against the wall. Yeah, you have to have that mindset of, I mean, you win the game or you go home. And that's exactly what the playoffs are about. And you always want to end your season on a win, and, that's our main goal.
Coverage will begin at 9 a.m. Sunday here on the Fan Rochester. Now tonight, the Amherst looking for their first win of the calendar year as they're taking on Syracuse. It's on the road. We'll have both Don and Andrew on the call tonight beginning at 7 here on the Fan. Tomorrow night, the Sabres back in action. They're at the Garden against the Rangers. At the Garden tonight, the Knicks looking to break a 4-game slide. They host the Clippers. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
It's time to start the show and talk about the sports we saw. Inside jokes and takes from Danger and Battaglia. Bills and the Sabres and the Amherst. Who gave a microphone to these jerks? Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. Welcome to the sports bar, that's where you are. With Danger and Battaglia.
Happy hour in the sports bar. Thanks for joining us on the Fan Rochester. You can find us in the free-to-download Odyssey, iHeartRadio, TuneIn apps, or you can watch the sports bar on our YouTube channel at the Fan Rochester. Our stream is up and rolling as well on our Twitch channel at the Fan Rochester. You can like and subscribe while you're there. We'll talk some Nighthawks lacrosse with Thomas McConvey, who joins us before 6 o'clock.
We can certainly talk some Buffalo Bills, and we will. We mentioned the injury update. We should also mention that running back Ty Johnson not going today, and I saw him personally in a walking boot on Sunday, so we'll keep an eye on that. But really, the NFL story is Harbaugh. It was right around this time yesterday we learned, wait a second, they did this? And what's next and how things are moving quick. He's going to have a job in this league. You and I, Danger, are kind of different. You say it's the Giants. I think Atlanta, the idea that he can come in and actually handpick potentially who can work alongside him in terms of the player personnel. But whatever Harbaugh wants, as Lee Steinberg mentioned, it's what does he really value? Is it the quarterback? Is it the money? Is it the ownership? What is it that he would want? It's a good spot here for Harbaugh, so don't feel bad that he got fired.
No, he'll be fine. And Schefter reported after he was let go that 7 teams had reached out to Harbaugh.
How many?
7.
How many openings are there?
There are 7.
Okay.
Including Baltimore.
So
there's 6 openings and Baltimore.
Okay, so right. So Baltimore's not reaching out to him like, hey, we made a mistake, right?
No, there are 7 openings and 17. So there is a team out there that has a head coach that was reaching out to John Harbaugh's agent to try and see what it would take. And we have conflicting reports on whether or not that team was Miami. Josina Anderson reporting it was Miami.
I trust Josina. Yes,
I do not. Barry Jackson of the Miami Herald, they're the local beat reporter, said as of late this morning the Dolphins had not reached out to Harbaugh in any way. So whether or not the Dolphins were that team, I mean, could it be I could see the Jets being a team that would do that. Jets still have a coach.
The Jets should absolutely do that.
That makes sense.
Can we stop, though? Why is Harbaugh such a prize?
Well, I'll say this. If you're a Bills fan who's preparing for an angry Monday, if it doesn't go the Bills' way on Sunday and they flame out again in the postseason on the road and something happens where it doesn't really matter. A loss is a loss. The calls are going to come in on Monday, and the calls for the head of Sean McDermott are going to come on Monday. We know it. We already know what's going to happen because it happens every time. It happens sometimes when they win. It doesn't matter. Yeah. There's just people out there that just want the change to happen, that they believe that it's long overdue. And to those people who think that John Harbaugh would be an upgrade, I would ask, why would you feel that way? They're essentially the same coach as long as McDermott has been in the league.
Well, I would actually counter, no, McDermott's made improvements. 13 seconds being the albatross of albatrosses, right? Since that point, the Bills have won the close games. The Bills. against the Ravens coming back.
You've seen
the
some
Bill,
pretty spectacular flameouts by the Ravens. I mean,
absolutely.
Zay Flowers fumbling, touchback on the 1-yard line against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. The Mark Andrews drop, the missed kick on Sunday night. I mean, their losses have been as spectacular, if not more spectacular, than the Bills' upset losses.
Well, and I would point to this too, because it's the relationship that you have with your quarterback. And indirectly, maybe, but that's ultimately what did Harbaugh in. The fact that, according to the sources, it was Bisciotti, the owner, saying, hey, Lamar does not like they don't get along. Monken, the OC, Lamar, John, you need to make a move here at OC. No, I'm not doing that. Okay, well then you're gone. Goodbye. So basically Bisciotti taking, I don't even want to say a side, but just not listening to what his owner wanted, going on Lamar's side, I guess you would say. Harbaugh working with Josh Allen, I don't see that.
I think the only way you see Sean McDermott lose his job in Buffalo is that. It's Josh Allen saying, Sean McDermott's just not going to get it done for us. We need to move off of this guy.
Well,
do you really see Josh Allen being that guy? I do not.
Well, let me present something else, too, because every year for the Bills during this playoff run, right, there's always been a fall guy. Always has been. Now, last year was a special teams coordinator. Who cares? But you've had Leslie Frazier. You've had different offensive coordinators. You've had changes every year after a loss. Okay, I don't see Babbage. Am I reading too much into McDermott talking about Jacoby Myers? Like, what is the state of the relationship between Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott?
I'm sure there's some heat. I'm sure there's some heat there.
Go back to day one and how the Pagulas and everybody talked about one voice, because back in the Whaley Rex days, you had everybody yapping their gums. That one voice is Sean McDermott.
For sure.
And we've always wondered who has more power in this organization. Is it Beane or is it McDermott? I would say it's McDermott because he kind of brought in Beane.
And the guy who has more power than both of them is Josh Allen.
So
right?
So
you didn't have Josh Allen day one of Sean McDermott.
Well, does Josh Allen say, what are we doing with these receivers? I don't see Josh Allen being that guy, though.
I don't see him being that guy. Look, he's a competitor. We know he's a competitor. He's a fiery competitor. But I also think he's not the guy that's going to go to ownership at the end of the season and say, we need change. What are we doing? They needed a receiver for him when he was young in his career. They got him Steph Diggs. And now he's getting paid what he's getting paid. And it becomes harder and harder to build a complete roster when you've got so much eaten into what you're paying your quarterback.
Well, I think there's an easy solution to that. Draft receivers in the middle of the late rounds. You did with Shakir, and look how it worked out. This would be the time.
Yeah, but Shakir's a 3. You don't have that elite guy.
Well, I would take 2 more 3s on this team, other than Keon Coleman at this point.
Yeah, right.
I look what Houston did. They have kids out there. There are ways you can do this, and that's a position in the draft danger that has been ignored. I'm not telling you anything you don't already know.
But to bring it back to the Myers comment, that I think is a sore spot. I think that is one where it's like, and Beane didn't do himself any favors reacting the way he did this offseason. The arrogance of him to go on the radio and get angry at our colleagues for challenging him on the lack of wide receiver.
Well, technically, they didn't challenge him. It was being out of the gate swinging.
Right. The arrogance of him, defending his turf. And the reality is, Jeremy was right. They were right. They were right to question, where's the receivers? We need receivers. And we've needed them. And the ones that we've brought in, now, hey, Brandon Cooks could be a nice surprise this postseason. I would love to be able to say that Brandon Cooks returns to wide receiver 1 form. I'm not holding my breath for that, but that would be fun.
Well, I'm going to give you another scenario that could even drive a wedge, because it was a big, massive story in November, and then we're on to the next thing. But today, we even brought this up. It's not a practice squad elevation, Danger. He's officially on the 53. Congratulations to Dane Jackson. Dane Jackson will be suiting up as corner 3. And if this ends up a game, Danger, that the circumstances would point to Dane Jackson getting torched and Sean McDermott losing his other corner 3 and that whole Darius Slay mishap and Jamarcus Ingram not clearing waivers. That's another big thing.
Sean McDermott on Dane Jackson earlier.
Dane's always been a guy that's done a great job for us. You know, when he was first came around, and right away you notice the intangibles that Dane Jackson brings to the table, his toughness, his football instincts, his blue-collar approach, and he's a great teammate. So it's great to have someone like Dane that we can rely on in a situation like this.
Oh, God, I almost want to play McDermott McLies with Dane Jackson. I want to do McDermott McLies with his own players.
It sounds like somebody that I'm okay with him dating my daughter kind of quote. That's great. Can he actually play the game? I mean, Dane Jackson, when he came up, the guy can tackle, but seeing him in the playoff game 2 years ago against the guy can't cover. Yeah, I'm a little worried about that, Danger.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot there. As far
do you want
as
to play that again and you get the smoke going there for the truth detector, lie detector?
Lie detector? Okay, here we go. Dane Jackson. Sean McDermott earlier today on Dane Jackson.
Dane's always been a guy that's done a great job for us. You know, when he was first came around, and right away you notice the intangibles that Dane Jackson brings to the table, his toughness, his football instincts, his blue-collar approach, and he's a great teammate. So it's great to have someone like Dane that we can rely on in a situation like this.
Intangibles.
Yeah.
God, get out of here. The intangibles going to win the game on Sunday? Tell me those intangibles are good to...
Have you ever hired somebody, Danger, based on intangibles?
All the intangibles are there.
I had nothing else to say.
It was all the intangibles. What was your main reason for hiring them? The intangibles are off the chart. Get out of here. Yeah, that's a little scary. And the idea that you lost Jamarcus Ingram, somebody that you trusted, that McDermott trusted, all in an effort to sign Darius Slay, who didn't want to be here. I mean, there's a couple of marks on Brandon Beane's ledger this year that won't be viewed favorably. Hey, and the weird thing is it all still might work out, right? Because it is the postseason, it is the NFL, and the Bills have the best quarterback in the field. They have a chance.
Well, funny how not one but two people have come on this week and said the winner of Buffalo-Jacksonville will represent the AFC.
Yeah. Lee Steinberg joined us earlier. And no, that wasn't Lee Steinberg who said it. It was
PJ. Our betting
PJ said
yeah.
it. And who did we have on earlier that said it? It was another national.
No, it was Perino.
Oh, Perino believed it. I don't hate that.
Oh no, I'm sorry. It's Michael LaFleur.
Yeah, I don't hate that. I don't hate that idea that the winner of this game could actually represent the AFC.
Well, the idea, Danger, that if you get by this game, the road looks easier, doesn't it? You take a deep breath. Okay, we got by that, and you're going to Denver. You're going to Pittsburgh. Gene, when we're joined by PJ Glasser, the more I think about Steelers
you see how this
and
is going to
Texans,
shake out.
the idea that the over-under is 39.5. What happens in low-scoring games? Comes down to one play, a missed field goal, a special teams play, a strip sack, whatever it is. This is ugly football designed for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the stat that is mind-blowing, the Pittsburgh Steelers have a 23-game winning streak at home on Monday Night Football. You have to go back to October 14th, 1991. 91. That's not even the Three Rivers
Steelers are winning. Steelers are winning on Monday night. On Monday, when we're dissecting everything from Saturday and Sunday, the missing piece will be the Pittsburgh Steelers, and we could go ahead and say the Bills are going to have to go to Pittsburgh in the divisional round if they beat Jacksonville. And the other stat that you could kind of use if you wanted to use it, New England, a team that was not in the postseason last year, is a favorite at home against the Chargers.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Yeah. What's the stat?
The stat is that teams that are in the playoffs that missed the playoffs the previous season that are favored in the wild card round since 2017, they're 1-16. That includes both teams last year that ended up losing, the Chargers being the one. The good news for your Bears, Danger, the line flipped. The Bears would have been in that category, but now for some reason Green Bay is favored by 1.
Mm-hmm.
Explain that to me. I don't quite. Snow in the forecast now. I'm reading in Chicago.
Yeah, and Josh Jacobs saying this is as good as he's felt all season. Give me a Josh Jacobs game where he's running the ball 30 times on a snowy night in Soldier Field. So you could see in the AFC a scenario where the Chargers upset the Patriots based on that stat, and the Steelers beat the Texans based on their dominance on Monday night. If the Bills handle their business, you're right, the path looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, this is like the dream path because, all right, Chargers divisional game. Divisional game, Danger. Anything can happen. Who's the better quarterback? It's Justin Herbert. Who's the better coach? Well, we can debate that. That's.
But you'd be pulling for the Chargers because that would mean one last ride at Highmark Stadium. One last ride. If the Bills were to handle their business on the road in Jacksonville and presumably in Pittsburgh.
The story, this is a little bit of Rochester sports trivia. So Silver Stadium shuts down year 93, Danger. And they're on the road for the last, week, 7 games, and they get in. Somehow they get in. So everybody did a, hey, goodbye, Silver Stadium, goodbye, Silver Stadium. Oh, my gosh, we got back in. All right, everybody come back in. Wouldn't that be fun if, that would be
Have they
really
started auctioning off the troughs and the seats at Highmark Stadium yet? There might still be a game.
So one of our clients was meeting with today, Martin's Tidesides, right? And he's a huge Bills fan. And he's like, yeah, I'm buying some of those seats. I'm like, yeah, I guess if you're a Bills collector and you could walk into your Bills room and.
Yeah. I mean, at minimum, put them in your garage, right? You have the garage mahal, your basement. Why not? Or if they are your actual seats, could you buy your actual seats if you're a season ticket holder?
Ooh.
I think you probably could, right?
Yeah.
Dibs.
I would think they're going to probably carve up that turf, right? Like, here's a little tiny square.
Yeah.
Of
course. Yeah, the people that want the troughs, that's weird. I don't understand that. But, okay, you do you. That's fine.
It's one of those things where the first time you see it as a kid, you're like, what?
Yeah.
It's a little scarring.
So there you have a couple of sets. Oh, and then there was the other stat on the Jags being 0-16 since, what was it, since 2020, I want to say, in games where the over-under is set at 49 or higher. They don't win those games right now. The over-under is, what did you say, 52.5?
52.
So there are some trends that would support some freakish outcomes, but some trends that also support a Bills win coming up on Sunday.
You realize, after tonight, we're back to football because we have the 2 semifinals Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, 3 on Sunday. Monday Night Football will be good, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Good weekend of action ahead. Also, some Nighthawks lacrosse action coming to the Flower City on Saturday night. The rivalry. It's the Bandits. We're going to talk some Nighthawks lacrosse before 6 o'clock with Thomas McConvey. Before we get to that, let's get to a round of shots next.
Yeah, look, we got to give a minute to the Sabres. And no joke, okay? Something was different last night. We'll explain in this victory. The Sabres and Syracuse winning on the same night. NBC also announcing this new technology that I would say it's probably the biggest thing since the Fox Box, Danger, where, hey, there's the score on the side. Something that you never thought we'd be able to do as a home viewer. This being unveiled at one of those trade shows in Vegas today.
Okay. A round of shots on the way. And Thomas McConvey, the Rochester Nighthawks, stopping by for last call before 6 o'clock as well on the Fan Rochester.
Lengthy injury report for the Buffalo Bills. As the good news, Josh Allen, full participant today, not practicing. Ty Johnson, Terrell Bernard, Matt Milano, Josh Palmer. And we already knew that Maxwell Hairston is out for this game. Head coach Sean McDermott on the need to start quickly.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to get off to a good start in any game, in particular a game like this. But at the end of the day, it's about us playing really good football from play one to play however long it takes.
9 a.m. Our pregame coverage will begin on Sunday here on the Fan Rochester. Tonight, got Amherst Hockey, the team playing in Syracuse. Is both Don Stevens and Andrew Mossbrooks on the call, beginning at 7 o'clock. Sabres back in action tomorrow night at the Garden. They're taking on the Rangers. The Knicks tonight looking to make a 4-game slide. The Knicks at home against the Clippers. Gene Battaglia, the sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950, the Fan Rochester.
Listen to 95.7 The Fan Rochester on the Odyssey, iHeartRadio, or TuneIn apps, and take the sports leader with you everywhere you go.
They're a really good team. I'd have to say them and Laval are probably the two best teams in the league. You look at their underlying numbers, they're both two of the best defensive teams in the league. They both score a lot of offenses. Their teams are built really well. They're healthy. You know, they just played the Wilkes-Barre team and won 6-0 at home. They're a really good team. They're organized. They're hard to play against. They're big. They're heavy. So it'll be a big test for our group going to these last two games. And both teams are really, really good teams. It's probably since I've been here as far as how deep both rosters are right now, with just the depth, the goaltending, the complete teams. Are two really good teams. Really good teams are well built, so it'll be a really, really good test for our group.
Amherst head coach Mike Leone joining us yesterday in the sports bar tonight, 7 o'clock. The action on the Fan Rochester. Time for a round of shots.
Yeah, up 4-1 against the team with the second worst record in the NHL. The Sabres gave up 2 goals late, and you're like, oh no. 4-3, everybody hang on. But then something different happened, Danger. Minute and a half left, and the crowd in Buffalo, 17,000 plus on Tuesday night, started getting louder, as if to say, come on, guys, we're behind you. Let's bring this home. And the Sabres did just that. They get the win. An empty netter made the final 5-3. Zach Metza, Amber captain, was his first NHL goal.
Yeah, I love that, and I was feeling the same way as everybody was like, oh, God, here we go. If you want to be taken seriously, these are the games you have to win. You can't give up a game like that. I mean, I didn't like the loss to Columbus. They were sleepwalking. They were sloppy. The loss had ended the streak. But if you're winning more, obviously, then we'll be paying attention. And this was one that they should beat a bad Vancouver team. They did.
So we'll have the game tomorrow night. Sabres at MSG to face the Rangers. New York will be without Igor Shesterkin, their goaltender, for a while. He's in IR with a lower body injury. It was non-contact, which you always fear the worst, but we're told this is not the worst-case scenario.
I think while you were saying that, the Islanders just scored another goal. They won last night.
Well, how many goals did they put up?
It was a score made for the sports bar.
9 times.
9-0.
9-0. They didn't pull the goalie either. Wow. Hey, way to go there.
Yeah.
This is funny because I think this is karma, Danger. The soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics, well, we can't call them that now. They were denied their trademark.
Awesome.
Even though this team has called themselves the Athletics in Philadelphia, Kansas City, and Oakland, and now in Sacramento, the U.S. Patent Office takes things very literally. So why did they turn them down? Like, wait a second, that's their name, right? Well, this legal expert's saying if in Vegas you give this team unfettered rights to the word athletics, any youth or amateur athletic association could suddenly be in violation of the trademark. The A's are appealing.
Let's just call them the Las Vegas team everybody hates. And leave it at that. That's their nickname. Everybody hates them.
So here's the way I would kind of paint the picture. If I'm in Vegas and I want to take in a game, and assuming it's not, for you, the Blackhawks, for me, the Sabres, or whatever, or whatever football team, it's just two teams you don't care about, but you're watching Vegas, yeah, you're kind of behind the Golden Knights a little bit with the crowd, or maybe even the Raiders you can interlope. There's no way with the history and this owner, and this cheap-ass owner who screwed over Oakland, and this rubs me the wrong way. They don't even call them the Sacramento A's. Like, doesn't that bother you? Like, Sacramento housing them for 3 years. We're not even going to use your name here.
It's gross. The owner is terrible. And the Knights feel like they're going to be okay. The locals love the Knights. The Knights have won. They're there. They're in the community.
They were first.
They were first. Everybody's in. The Raiders feel still very transient. You're a Raider fan. It doesn't really matter where they play. You're not really from Vegas. You're probably an LA guy or an Oakland guy. It doesn't matter. You're just a fan of the laundry.
It's the way it's always been.
Always been that way with the Raiders. This team, who is going to be excited about this team? Who is going to be a fan of this team?
I think they have no idea what they're in for because, hey, it's the whatever they're going to be called. Let's assume they figure out the Athletics against the Red Sox. It's 30,000 Red Sox fans.
Right.
There's no local fans. Get out of here.
And do we know about the stadium? Where are we at with that? Have they?
Oh, they broke ground.
They broke ground.
Yeah.
Now, do we know the particulars about this stadium? Is it an indoor stadium? It has to be, right?
It's it is, and it's on a very small footprint. So, and it's probably going to go over budget. In 2028.
Okay.
I think the whole thing is gross danger, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
One team I can't explain to you, that would be the Syracuse basketball team. Good for the Orange. They go to Georgia Tech. They pick up the first ACC win of the season. Donnie Freeman had a career-high 27 in the win. Syracuse 10-5 overall. They play at Pittsburgh Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Very good.
Aquinas grad Jalen Pickett. He had a career-high 29 points Monday night in a win in Philadelphia. Hey, you can watch Pickett tonight. Denver playing at Boston. Interesting matchup, 7 o'clock on ESPN.
Very good.
And a trade show in Vegas today.
This is CES, I want to say, right?
Yeah.
Consumer Electronics Show?
Yeah. They new technology, all this sort of stuff.
It's a great convention. I've never been, but I know people who have gone. And, I am not as tech. There's people in my life that are far more tech savvy than I am. This is their dream. This is everything that they want.
Well, what I'm going to tell you, and I don't think I'm overstating this will change your NFL viewing experience.
Changed my life.
I knew you were going to say that.
Whenever somebody says something changed their life, I was like, especially when it's something like minimal, like you got to try this new conditioner. Changed my life. What was your life like before your conditioner?
Notice I didn't say change. I said NFL viewing experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so NBC announced that it's partnering with Dolby Sound, to enhance their sports broadcast on Peacock. Cool. While this won't happen right away, upcoming features will have viewers who can control the audio level for a game's announcers and the ambient crowd noise. You can mix it how you like. Oh. And yes, that would include muting the announcers potentially. Funny that NBC would roll out a product with so many people would use on Collinsworth.
So I promise you that before they do any sort of research or release this kind of technology, there's research behind this release, right? They've done studies, and I promise you that people probably say, hey, tell us what you think, football fan. Tell us what you think about our Sunday Night Football presentation. And they'll probably say things like, I love Carrie Underwood, and that's great, and Tirico is good, but the sound is always kind of off, and Collinsworth sucks. And so if you have all of this data now, if you're NBC, you're like, okay, how do we deliver on an expectation? We take this research, this data from fans that say, we don't want to hear Chris Collinsworth go on and on and on about here's a guy and Patrick Mahomes this. Let's figure out a way that we can just mute him. Good.
Yeah, and the way they will roll this out is, hey, you want the stadium experience, like say you're in Baltimore, you hear the band or the drum line or whatever's in Buffalo. You will have all this big sound. There was one game over the holidays, and I don't know because I was at my in-laws, and I don't know if their audio was set up different, but the Christmas Day game, the Lions and the Vikings, it seemed like the crowd was overpowering the announcers to the point where, like, whoa, this feels really different.
I think you also have to have a pretty significant sound system, too, for this to be worth it, right? Like, if we were watching a game on the big screen and you had a really good sound system that you could just crank up the ambient crowd noise, I think that would be cool. And mute the announcers altogether, that might be kind of fun. Unless you don't know what you're looking at, because I think there's still a large segment of football fans that don't necessarily know everything that they're looking at all the time. We're freaks. We watch it all the time. We're degenerates. But, my daughters need to know, what does that mean? Well, I don't understand. They love watching, but they don't know everything or why things happen, so the announcers could be beneficial in that way. But the ambient crowd noise is great. Muting Collinsworth is even better. But they didn't make this move. They didn't work on this technology without research to back it up. And I promise you that research probably said, yeah, Collinsworth needs to just shut the F up.
How do they, like, your remote would point at a QR code? I don't even know, like, what the device would be, how you home mix your own audio there. But
or they could just feed you different streams.
Oh,
here's a stream with the booth. Here's a stream with just the ambient noise.
When I was a kid, they did one of these late season do nothing games, Jets and Dolphins, Saturday afternoon game. No announcers. They tried it once. I watched it. I thought it was pretty cool, but never did it again. So
wow, Gino, you're talking yourself out of a livelihood here.
Well, I mean, they're getting rid of sports updates. They're getting rid of a lot of the stuff.
2 days in a row, Gino.
It's a sad day for baseball writer. I shouldn't joke about this. Like a major daily went out of business today.
I'm not going to joke about this. We make fun of baseball writer, but I hate hearing about people losing jobs, and I don't like hearing about local newspapers like the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette shutting down and closing their doors later on this year.
The weird thing about this, it's the same owners as the Toledo Blade. The Toledo Blade stays open. The Pittsburgh Post-Gazette is going out of business. So it just tells me, all right, they were obviously losing money in Pittsburgh with the payroll and whatnot.
It's a business.
That's it.
It is a business, and the billionaire owners are going to do what the billionaire owners do in order to stay profitable. They're not in it to lose.
If you are a Bills fan, because I just have this in regards to the show, you want to be with us tomorrow because we already told you Maggie Gray at 3:25. So Maggie Gray, we'll catch up with Maggie since she's been off the air for a week. Like, see if she can tease anything more about what she's got in the works. Maybe not, but we'll certainly get her Bills takes and opinions. And if you know Maggie, she's always bringing fire. 4:25 tomorrow. Ty Dunn joins us.
Oh, great.
I want Ty on because now he's got a relationship where he clashed with McDermott going back to that article. Well, he and McDermott now talk regularly, and I'm just curious to get Dunn's thoughts on this because you don't need me to tell you there is a lot of outside noise about what the Buffalo Bills should do should they lose this game. Fire everybody. Is that really going to happen? Ty Dunn's going to bring his perspective coming tomorrow.
I love that. So tomorrow, 4:25, Ty Dunn from Go Long TD joining us here in the sports bar. We're going to close up shop with Last Call next and a quick conversation with Thomas McConvey of the Rochester Nighthawks on the Fan Rochester.
Bar with Danger and Battaglia on the Sports Leader 95.7 FM and AM 950 The Fan, Rochester.
Nighthawks mascot Chopper celebrating his birthday on Saturday night at Blue Cross Arena as the Nighthawks host the Bandits. We are going to talk about that and more from the Rochester Nighthawks with Thomas McConvey joining us now. Bud, it's good to have you on with us. Let's start with your most recent outing here and the decision that was dropped in Colorado last Saturday. Talk a little bit about that 18-3 defeat.
Yeah, it was a tough one for us. Obviously, we got off to a great start. The first two games there were two big wins. Traveling out to Colorado, it's always a tough place to play. They got a great team over there, great defense, and a great goalie. So we didn't like the way we started and kind of got down there at halftime, but we're happy with the way we responded there in the second half and made a little push. But hopefully this week we can kind of start on time and after a better start, so they're not playing from behind so much and get a better result.
Yeah, so the Nighthawks 2-1 on the season. You win in San Diego. I was at the game against Philadelphia, and you're going to be at Philadelphia coming up Friday night. Are we going to get another goalie fight here, Thomas, in this game Friday? Nope, we lost him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's try and get Thomas back on the line there. We had a little bit of a scratchy signal there. If we get Thomas back on, we'll get a little preview of this weekend's action for the Nighthawks. Back-to-back nights here, Friday night in Philadelphia before returning home Saturday night to take on the Buffalo Bandits. And as I mentioned, it's Chopper's birthday. If you're a fan, if you want to bring the kids by, Chopper T-shirt for the kids. If you want tickets, RochesterNighthawks.com. You can also call 585-400-HAWK. That's 400-4295. Thomas, we were asking you about your matchup on Friday night here against Philadelphia, and Gino brought up the last time these two teams met. You guys, we had a little goalie fight. Are we expecting something like that to happen again here? That was exciting.
Yeah, that was pretty crazy. I don't think that's going to happen again. Or at least I hope not. Hopefully, we can kind of have a similar game plan and go into that one and get the same result that we got. Obviously, we're happy with the way we played against Philadelphia there a couple weeks ago, and they're a great team and they're going to respond with a good effort against us. So we got to be ready for that from them, and hopefully we can come back with the same result. But hoping no goalie fights this time.
Yeah, you took a little cheap shot in that. The stuff like that carry over to the next game, Thomas?
Well, since it's so recent, it's only we played them a couple weeks ago, so maybe a little bit. But at the end of the day, I think both teams just want to get the win, and I know some extracurriculars sometimes get involved, but I think at the end of the day, we're just looking to worry about ourselves and focus on ourselves and have a good game and come out with the win. So
many new things. You've got the new ownership, and one thing that's not new, but just having Hartley back, and he makes that save in the San Diego game. He leads you. What is it like just to have somebody as the backbone now of your team back there?
Yeah, I know it's great. I think he brings an energy back there to our defense, and some of the incredible acrobatic saves he makes really brings an energy to our defense that gets us going, and especially on the offense too. When we see him make a big save, we want to go out there and make a play on our end. So I think he's been a great start to the year for him, and I think he's one of the best goalies in the league when he's on. And hopefully we can kind of help him see shots that he can make the save and get him in a rhythm early. And when he's firing back there, he gives us a chance to win every single night. So it's nice to have him back there for sure.
And you talk about the changes with this team, new ownership, obviously the biggest one here from year to year. I'm sure there's a different energy, a different vibe around the team, but knowing who you're facing on Saturday with the Bandits coming in and knowing that for years there was a shared ownership there with Pagula owning both the Bandits and the Nighthawks, how is this going to look different if you're a fan of the Nighthawks when you go to Blue Cross Arena on Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm not sure how much it'll look different for the fans. It's always been a big rivalry. I think it always will be a big rivalry just with Western New York and being an hour drive away from each other. They've been the top of the league for the last 3 years, and they've had our number since I've been in the league, and I don't know if we beat them yet. So hopefully this year it starts something different, and maybe the ownership change is exactly what we needed to kind of change that trend. But, they're a great team, and they've shown it the past 3-5 years, and hopefully we can take care of business in Philly on Friday and show up for our fans on Saturday against a great team in Buffalo. And, it's a measuring stick game, and we want to see where we're at this early in the season. And it's a big one, and you're fighting for playoff seeding and playoff spots, and every game matters. So
hopefully we can show up for a big 2 games this weekend.
Dude, you are polished, Thomas, because I hate them. I hate their fans. I just honestly, it would please me nothing more. I honestly, number one, win a championship, yes, but just beat Buffalo at home. Thomas McConvey, our guest. One other new thing. He's not a new thing. He's a new guy. Tell us what it's like to play with Zed Williams now.
Yeah, he's a beast. He brings a lot of skill, a lot of size to that right side where we already have Kyle Waters and Ryan Smith, a couple big bodies over there. But his hands, his finishing ability, he brings a lot of talent to that side, and I think you've seen it early in the season with our offense, having the chemistry from last year of similar guys, and then bringing in a guy like Zed who's a champion in this league, and he's kind of done it all in this league. So he's been a great culture fit, and he's added a lot to our offensive end, and I'm so lucky to have him and so lucky to play with him.
Yeah, Thomas McConvey, Rochester Nighthawks taking on Buffalo. Before that, you're on the road in Philadelphia. This is it's going to be a fun ride. It is a fun ride. We're looking forward to coming out Saturday night. Thanks for the time today, Thomas.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, there's Thomas McConvey. Back-to-back nights, Friday night in Philadelphia before returning home to Blue Cross Arena. That's coming up here on Saturday night. Again, you can get your tickets at 585-400-HAWK4295 or go directly online, RochesterNighthawks.com.
One of the most careless penalties in hockey I think you can take is the boarding. Somebody's turned their back to you and you're going to cross-check them up into the boards. Normally you see that's 5 minutes, right, or a game misconduct.
Yeah.
McConvey, and I don't know who the player from Philadelphia was, just comes up from behind and people are going nuts. Wow, that was unbelievably dirty. 2 minutes. Wait, what are you looking at? 2 minutes.
Yeah. You know what? It is physical when on Friday night when they're playing Philadelphia, those two teams average 37 penalty minutes each game. So you mentioned the goalie fight the last time these two teams.
There's some back history between those two, so it wasn't. I'm like, oh my gosh, are we just doing this for show and to sell tickets? No, actually, those two guys really don't like each other, and that's
kind of dig it.
Yeah.
And I like the idea now that we have a true Rochester-Buffalo rivalry with these two teams. Yes, the Bandits have been the class of the league for the last 3 to 5 years. But with Rochester now being kind of independent of the Bandits, independent of PSC, this is an opportunity to kind of separate.
It just always kind of rubbed me the wrong way how every tweet, social media post is Bandits. And I get it. They've got the bigger arena. They got the team that's won a couple championships, but they couldn't give any love to the Nighthawks. Well, that's all changed, so thanks to the Seneca Nation.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend. Great weekend of sports action, whether you're talking college football semifinals, of course, the Super Wildcard Weekend, Nighthawks lacrosse, something for everyone. Fun show this afternoon. If you missed any of it, you can go to our YouTube channel at The Fan Rochester. Watch any part of the show you may have missed. Find us wherever you get your podcasts. Search out The Fan Rochester. Search out The Sports Bar. The free-to-download Odyssey app, iHeartRadio. Tune in as well. Tomorrow, Maggie Gray. 325. 425 from Go Long TD. Our pal Ty Dunn stops by. We'll talk plenty of Buffalo Bills and Jacksonville Jaguars tomorrow afternoon in the Sports Bar. BetMGM tonight with the big noise. Brad Evans on the way next on The Fan Rochester. Have a great night.